Yeah, hello, hello. Okay, am I audible? Again, we're going to start now. So this is the final session. Dr. Murthy, are you audible from here? Hello. Yes, Mr. Yadav, are you audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, great, fantastic. You can switch on your videos so that we all can be together. And it's hard, yes. Thank you so much. Okay, thanks. Hello everyone, can we now start so that we can begin the program? Hello. Hello. No. Hello. Hello. Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, we are going to begin, sir. So, yes, that's great.
Huh? Hello,
Yes,
who's speaking there? I can't recognize.
Lovial, it's me from Basel.
Huh? Sorry?
मैं बासल से बोल रहा हूँ.
Professor Yadav.
Yes, that's me.
Good afternoon, Professor Yadav. I am Murthy. Nice to
Hi.
hear your voice.
Murthy Garu, how are you?
Thank you. Nice to hear your voice.
Oh, well, same for me. Yeah.
Hello, Professor Murthy.
Yeah.
How are you?
Lobial Saab, Namaskar. How are you? Thanks for involving me here in this function. Professor Harjit Singh was my warden also. A lot of dear friends, colleagues are present. Very, very happy to see all of them.
Yeah, but right now there are just 7 participants that I see. 6 other than me, DK Lovial, CSR Murthy, Gujesh Pant, Karuna ji, MM Paryam Singh ji.
But you can see those physically present on the tarmac.
Okay.
Yes. Now, hello everyone online. We are going to start our program now. Great. So it's a pleasure being with all of you today. Oh, camera. Okay. Okay.
Well, the camera might add to the burden of the network.
Yadav, how are you?
Hi, Professor Pant, how are you?
Fine.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, yes. You are participating from online?
Yes, I am with my daughter Koshika in Switzerland.
Acha, okay. Enjoy. Have a nice snowfall there.
Well, yes, there is some, but winter is phasing out gradually. February, only in the Alps, you'll get some snow.
Okay. How long you are going to be there?
Another month,
Okay.
24th of March, I am coming back.
Okay.
Bhabiji is also with you? Bhabiji?
Yes.
Who?
He is very much with
Who?
my wife, Kusum. Yes, she's.
Acha. Okay.
Girijesh ji, namaskar. I have when I see your face, I have all the recollections of your.
Hello, am I audible to all of you online?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so we have started the program here and we are going to begin it. So with your permission, I can start, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So Professor Vayan Singh has also joined. So Premrana Karthik is there. Yes, Professor, you can open your video, and Professor Chanana, you can also open the video. So I was saying that when this was being debated, I think a lot of this was dependent on what the teachers of JNU are going to be and how the teachers are going to respond to this particular responsibility that was bestowed upon them. And I think looking 50 years from now, 59, the making of the university, but very soon, you knew that, the teachers of this university, we can now say that they left no stone unturned to actually try and facilitate that objective to be achieved. And that is what the role of the JNU teachers have been in the making of JNU and also for a larger democratic society in this country. And when I say this, I want to emphasize the point that when the teachers of this university 51 years ago actually got together and decided to make a body which was named as the JNU Teachers Association, they actually took this endeavor forward, and ever since then have never stopped in terms of addressing and understanding and facilitating and promoting the objective that was given to them. So as you all know, that the first the JNUTA, when it was formed, it actually started as a combined association which was staff and teachers together in 1971. And Professor Binoy Roy and the second president was Professor Bipan Chandra. And then they decided that the House decided that there was a need actually for a teachers association. And then in 1972, they actually did that meeting, and in 1973 they actually created a constitution, drafted a constitution, and the members who were there who drafted the constitution, we have tried to reach out to all of them. As you know, except one, we do not have all with us now. They have left us. So, but we have Professor Woman's message for us. We will not play when we start this. But before that, we begin, and before I request Dr. Lopial, who is the current JNUTA president, to initiate, I would request Professor Mausami Basu and Archana to come and begin this, our collective celebration with a song, and after that, Kirani would Dr. Lopial.
Rohit also. No, only Rohit.
Vikram is our generation. Yes.
So, we've gone through a lot over so many years, but we're still here. I think that's what we need to celebrate today, right?
That's it.
And what better song than that by Shankar Shailendran? Song captures the essence. Zinda. Okay? जिंदा है तो जिंदगी को जीत के यकीन कर, अगर कहीं है स्वर्ग तो उतार ला ज़मीन पर। तू जिंदा है तो जिंदगी को जीत पे यकीन कर, अगर कहीं है स्वर्ग तो उतार ला ज़मीन पर। जिंदा है ये गम के और 4 दिन, सितम के और 4 दिन, ये दिन भी जाएंगे गुजर गए 1000 दिन। गम के और 4 दिन, सितम के और 4 दिन, ये दिन भी जाएंगे गुजर गए 1000 दिन। कभी तो हो इस चमन की बहार की नजर, अगर कहीं है स्वर्ग तो उतार ला जमीन पर, तू जिंदा है। हमारे कारवां को मंजिलों का इंतजार है, ये आलिया ये तितलियों की पीठ पर सवार है। हमारे कारवां को मंजिलों का इंतजार है, ये आलिया ये तितलियों की पीठ पर सवार है। दुआ कदम मिला के चल बढ़ेंगे एक साथ हम, अगर कहीं है स्वर्ग तो उतार ला जमीन पर, तू जिंदा है। जिंदा है तू जिंदगी की जीत पे यकीन कर, अगर कहीं है स्वर्ग तो उतार ला जमीन पर। बुरी है आग पेट की, बुरे हैं दिल के दाग, ये न दब सकेंगे एक दिन बनेंगे इनकलाब ये। बुरी है आग पेट की, बुरे हैं दिल के दाग, ये न दब सकेंगे एक दिन बनेंगे इनकलाब ये। उड़ेंगे जुल्म के महल, बढ़ेंगे फिर नवी महल, अगर कहीं है स्वर्ग तो उतार ला जमीन पर, तू जिंदा है। तू जिंदा है तू जिंदगी की जीत पे यकीन कर, अगर कहीं है स्वर्ग तो उतार ला जमीन पर, तू जिंदा है।
Hello, Bial. Now, we hand over the mic to you. Thank you.
इधर इधर हम भी इधर कैप्चर करने वाले
एक काम ऐसा पड़ गया है, बहुत सही है।
उधर 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 उल्टा उल्टा
आ जाइए।
आवाज कैसी कर रहे हो? संभाल लेंगे कैमरा संभाल लेगा।
Hello. Welcome and let me see. One day, Dr. Surajit was looking at some documents and he realized all of a sudden, now JNUTA was formed in 1972, therefore we have completed 50 years. This is how this whole idea came, otherwise we all have forgotten that when JNUTA started. And then it was, I think, November, month of November 2023. And 73 and 23 is a 50 years, then December was too close to do it. Also very cold in Delhi. And inviting people in that cold was not possible. And then we thought it's very short time to organize. Then we thought, let us make in February, the weather will be good as well as, and this will be the end of this JNUTA term as well. In March, we will have election process. So we thought, let us celebrate in the month of February. And then it's a very pleasant experience to call everybody. And I felt it very, pleasant because most of those, some of the colleagues are not over there. But when I try to call everybody, and I know except Dr. Muni and Dr. Ashwani Ray, I think I know most of them and I have interacted. That's fortunate part for me. And all of them recognized me when I called them. I was very happy. And
Professor Ashwani Ray and Muni, Professor Muni also agreed to come, but somehow Professor Muni has a book launch today, and last moment he could not come. Dr. Anand Kumar also said he will come, but somehow he had another program all of a sudden, and the inauguration of some statue of JP in Banaras. He said JP and in Banaras, so I have to be there. There is no other way. And then he could not make it. And some of the colleagues, Pramod Yadav, he said I would have come, but he's in Switzerland. Professor Dhingra will be online. And some of the colleagues not in Delhi because they're outside Delhi, Professor Vijay Pant, Professor Vajam Singh, Professor Murthy, right? And they said we'll be online. And that's what we made this arrangement for online so that and rest and some of the colleagues probably in physical reasons they are not able to come. Otherwise they would have loved to come. Professor Qureshi was very excited to come, but maybe at times the age does not permit to come. And in addition to age, physical other constraints at time with the age. And but at least it's good that we came to know about them, how they are doing. I called Dr. Kunal Roy and his daughter picked up the phone. Said we are in Calcutta, and then he had some dementia also, and we are not in position to talk. So these are the stories while talking to people and trying to contact them. And so I tried to contact Dr. L.K. Pandey, but he did not pick up. I tried to dig out his phone number from the official records. At least I said he can come, but fortunately I could not contact him in spite of trying for a long period of time. So these are the stories which we tried for last almost 1 month. And Malaka, yes, I tried many times. He tried 5 numbers. Malaka for 5 numbers, but he picked up none of the phone. I don't know where he is. Maybe in Bihar. Mostly there. So, and so this is what we thought, and it was an idea to call all the past president and secretary, whosoever come here, and that's the whole idea. And I tried to call. Rupa was traveling that time, but yes, thank you, and you made it adjusted your program according to this program. That's a great. So this is all about, and we have recently a book by Professor R.R. Sharma and YKL, and there are a lot of articles written by the people sitting here. And it's a recent book on JNU, and earlier books are there by Niladri, one book edited by Niladri, and before that, JNUTA National JNU, that book is also there. And I think more in pipeline to come. Right? Hopefully, yes, I heard that somebody told me, Professor Ajit Singh is writing something on he tells me. So this is a good legacy to celebrate and to see, and many of us maybe not knowing, and that's good part of it. And without wasting much time, I think we'll at least everybody, I'll request that to talk for 10 minutes or so that, right. Okay, yes. So shall I start the people? And we have to start with the Professor T.K. Owen's message, because he is the only surviving member who drafted the Constitution of JNUTA. So he is not in a position to come. He has some problem recently, and then we sent somebody to record his message. So we'll play his message here.
Friends, I'm extremely happy that JNUTA is celebrating its 50th year. As a person, only surviving member of the draft of the committee or the group who's drafted the constitution, I was asked to speak a few words. A university is actually can be viewed as an interest group in the sense that it consists of several interest groups. For example, there is the officers. There was the JNU Officers Association. There was the JNU Teachers Association, which office I was a member. Then there is JNUTA. Then there is the Students Association, Students Union, and the Karamchari Association. So at least there are 4 associations. And generally speaking, Students Union and Karamchari Association have like trade unions always try to get things from the university. Whereas the JNUT, the Teachers Association, was an organization which wanted to give something to the university. And then, therefore, you'll read in the objects of the revised version to the Constitution, which was reproduced from the original version, to the object of the JNUT, one of them being to promote democratic functioning of the university, especially to terms of teachers' in terms of teachers' participation in the decision-making process. That is one of the significant things about JNU was it was a participatory association. All varieties of the people which I mentioned were one way or another participating in the university administration. Thus, the students participated, it is well known, I don't have to repeat. The teachers also want to have their voice in the administration and to mold the university's functioning and objects. And therefore, its function was mainly cooperative with the university and not conflictual. And this is an important thing to be underlined. And if you read the Constitution, you will find that it is a Constitution of JNUTA. You will find it is a highly democratic organization, and it also functioned as a democratic organization. And as I told you, I'm the only surviving member of the drafting committee of the Constitution. I'm happy that the association has remembered me as a surviving member of the draft Constitution drafters of JNUTA. Thank you.
Yeah, recently the stroke on the left side paralyzed. Right side, okay, right side. It's not very happy when we contacted him. And not only that, see, when we are looking at these photographs, we try to include photographs of the past president and secretary. And we have not been able to find 3 photographs. Professor V. Astana, he was secretary with Professor Sivatos Mukherjee. And then Professor B.D. Arora. And right, one more. Professor Jaishankar. He was president, secretary twice, and I think he died in 1992. But we have not been able to find his photograph in it. 94, yes. So only 3 photographs are missing there. The rest of the past president and secretary photographs here. And Professor Arjit Singh gave the number of Professor त्रिवेदी जी son, and he was so excited, and he said, इसको बनाने के बाद मेरे को जरूर भेज देना, मैं डैड का फोटो अब यहाँ लगाना चाहूंगा. It was so happy moment that how people are excited to. But anyway, I think we should start with the online first. Submit it. And then may I request Dr. Baryam Singh to speak for. So unmute yourself.
प्रोफेसर लोबियाल, अरुण जी बगल में बैठे हैं, सभी बंधुओं को मेरा हिमाचल की पहाड़ी से अभिवादन। मैं सन 72 में शामिल हुआ था JNU फैकल्टी में, से संविधान बनते हुए मैंने देखा, और जाहिर है मैं भी आरंभिक मेंबर्स में था, शुरू के मेंबर्स में रहा हूं। मेरा सौभाग्य रहा कि मैं JNU का पहले बैच का छात्र रहा हूं, और एक लंबे 40 साल काम करने के बाद गांव लौटा हूं। और सच कहें तो अगर JNUTA नहीं होता तो पता नहीं हम लोगों का जीवन कैसा होता। JNUTA ने हमें वो आधार दिया खड़े होने का। अब सोचिए मेरी उम्र 24 साल थी कुल, और गांव से मैं अकेला दिल्ली JNU में। प्रोफेसर विनोय रॉय हमारे सेंटर के भी थे, और बाद में अध्यक्ष उच्च JNUTA की फॉर्मेशन में उनकी बहुत बड़ी भूमिका रही। उसके बाद हमने छात्र संघ का देखा, गतिविधियां देखी कर्मचारियों की, और 1975 में जो इमरजेंसी लगी वो दिन भी देखे। और क्या कहें, 1986 में जब नया पे कमीशन बना, उसमें जो मतभेद उभरे, हम लोग संतुष्ट नहीं थे, लेकिन उभरे, लेकिन कुछ हासिल भी किया। मेरे लिए अविस्मरणीय है, मैं भूल नहीं सकता हूँ। जब मैं अध्यक्ष था 1995 में, शायद देश में शायद ये पहली घटना रही होगी जब स्वयं वाइस चांसलर प्रोफेसर आलग और रेक्टर प्रोफेसर दत्ता हड़ताल पर बैठे थे बाहर। एक वो छात्र संगठन और दूसरी ओर स्वयं यूनिवर्सिटी का नेतृत्व। और उसके बाद तो आप देख ही रहे हैं, ये कठिन समय था मेरे लिए एक अध्यक्ष के रूप में। और चंद्रशेखर छात्र यूनियन के अध्यक्ष थे, डायलॉग स्थापित करना बहुत कठिन था, लेकिन हर चीज निपट ही जाती है। उसके बाद 1913 में लौट आया हूँ, पर इतना मैं जान दूं, कुछ लोग बहुत याद आते हैं, प्रोफेसर शेषाद्री, प्रोफेसर परिमल दास गुप्ता, पता नहीं कौन कहाँ है आजकल, और उसका प्रोफेसर भल्ला और मैडम भल्ला, ये लोग, इन लोगों का स्नेह मिलता रहा है, और उस स्नेह के बलबूते पर हम कुछ कर सके, जो भी कर सके। और अच्छा लगता है आप लोग इतने सारे यहाँ इकट्ठा हुए। आना तो मुझे भी था, पर यहाँ कहीं घर की परिस्थिति ऐसी हैं। आपको शायद मालूम होगा, जुलाई अगस्त में हिमाचल में भयानक बहुत नुकसान हुआ है। छोटा सा बगीचा है, उसकी देख रेख में लगा हूँ। तो आप लोगों का अच्छा है, आप लोग सब देखकर बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है। बोलने का मौका दिया, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। धन्यवाद लोबियाल जी।
अरे माइक को लगा दो इस पे।
हाँ,
नहीं इस पे लगा दो ना। नहीं वो इसी से कनेक्ट करो, इस पे आ गया ना।
धन्यवाद लोबियाल जी, एक बार फिर से।
जब तक में आया था और जब तक में इलेक्शन किया गया।
चलिए,
उसको HDMI से लगा दें, HDMI से लगा दें। इनकी आगे आगे HDMI 2 हाँ 2 पे ही तो है वो म्यूट हो गए हैं इनको अनम्यूट कीजिए ना इनको अनम्यूट कीजिए
आ गया क्या दिख रहा है
आवाज नहीं स्क्रीन तो आ गया है
हाँ
लेकिन इनका नहीं आया इसको
आवाज हाँ
ठीक है
Yeah, Professor Jensen, are you speaking? We got disconnected for a while. Yeah.
यहाँ तो नहीं आ रही है ना
उनकी आवाज बोलेंगे बोल रहे हैं
तो बोल रहे हो
यहाँ पर ज्वाइन होगा पहले यहाँ शुरू करते हैं टावर से कनेक्ट हो रहा है तब
तब तक हम यहाँ से कनेक्ट होगा उनका आवाज यहाँ का तो आवाज शुरू कर लेता हूँ
हाँ हाँ बिल्कुल गुड नाइट
मीन टाइम जब तक हो रहा तब तक हाँ
चलिए 2-3 मिनट करना है
जैसा दिख भी जाएगा ना बिल्कुल वन है लगेंगे आप चिंता मत लगेगा
वैसे आवाज इतनी बुलंद है कि आप रिकॉर्ड कर सकते हैं
Good afternoon, friends. First of all, I must thank JNUTA for having invited me and all others and given us an opportunity to interact with one another once again. As I said a minute ago, perhaps next to Harjeet Singh, I am one of the oldest members of JNUTA here. I joined in January 1975, and that was a time, unfortunately it is no more, that acute. JNUTA was a site where conflicting ideologies really clashed, and clashed in a big way. When we had to come to a consensus for a resolution for a JNUTA, I know, we would spend 7 hours, 8 hours fighting over each word and its semantics. As a linguist, I knew this. There were certain people, I remember Nirmal Singh, so very fondly at this moment, and Professor Oman and others, who would just spend hours contesting the implications of a word. Those were the days. But the great thing about this was, whether people were on the extreme right or extreme left, everybody from their point of view wanted to uphold the ideals of JNUTA that our secretary very, very nicely elucidated. The other wonderful thing about it was all that ideological conflicting opinion was found to that room. Outside, we were really a large family that this university was meant to be. I must also mention that whatever JNUTA was able to achieve, then a very big role was played by the Students Association and the Karamcharis. Those were the days when people really did not give an inch. That most of the people who upheld the ideas came from the left, various shades of left, but left. But the good thing about that was, which I am not very sure if it is present anymore in the university environment, that the ruling dispensation of the nation had practically no presence, both among the students and among the teachers. And yet there was no victimization. I am so glad to be here and to be able to share whatever I wanted to say about this. There are so many people who would like to say this. Once again, I thank JNUTA and giving us an walk down the memory lane. Thank you very much.
I think we'll continue with Professor Balram Singh.
कमेंट भाई गड़बड़ हो रहा है।
चलो आप सब सुन रहे हैं, आप बोलिए।
अच्छा सुनाई दे रहा है आपको?
सर बोलिए बोलिए, आप सुनाई दे रहे हैं। वीडियो आपको वीडियो
आप सभी मित्रों का हिमाचल के कुल्लू की घाटी से अभिवादन। मुझे बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है कि हम लोग अपने 50 वर्ष जेएनयू में संघ के संगठन के रूप में ये दिवस मना रहे हैं। मुझे खुशी है, मैं खुशकिस्मत रहा हूँ कि मैं सन 72 में जेएनयू फैकल्टी में शामिल हुआ। मैंने ये संविधान बनते हुए देखा और मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है याद करना उन लोगों को जो इसमें बहुत निकटता से जुड़े हुए थे। प्रोफेसर बिनॉय बहुत सक्रिय थे और वो हमारे चेयरपर्सन भी थे। तो बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिला। अब देखिए प्रोफेसर शेषाद्री, प्रोफेसर परिमल दास गुप्ता, प्रोफेसर विनोय रॉय, इनका स्नेह मिला। नहीं तो मुझ जैसे व्यक्ति के लिए बहुत मुश्किल होता। 24 साल की तो मेरी उम्र थी कुल, लेकिन बल मिला, संबल मिला। प्रोफेसर अब मेरा अब देखिए शुरू से ही सक्रिय रहा। सन 75 में इमरजेंसी जो लगी और उसके जो हम अनुभव रहे, बहुत सारे छात्र साथी अंदर हुए। मैं देखता था उनको किस तरह वो ले जाया जा रहा है उन्हें। और उन दिनों प्रोफेसर मोनीश रजा रिएक्टर थे। अचानक मॉस्को की स्कॉलरशिप मिली मुझे। प्रोफेसर रजा बोले भागो यहाँ से जाओ अब, और हम मॉस्को के लिए चल दिए। ये सन 76 की बात है। और उसके बाद 86 में पे कमीशन के लेकर के मतभेद रहे JNUTA में, लेकिन बहुत अच्छा रहा वो भी अनुभव कि किस तरह से हम अपने मतभेद सुलझा लेते हैं। 1995 में मैं अध्यक्ष बना और ऐसा JNU के इतिहास में और शायद देश के इतिहास में पहली बार ऐसा हुआ होगा जब एक और छात्र आंदोलन पर उतारू थे। एकेडमिक काउंसिल की मीटिंग होनी थी, वो नहीं हो पाई। प्रोफेसर अलग और प्रोफेसर हमारे तब के वाइस चांसलर और प्रोफेसर दत्ता दोनों ने बाहर तय किया कि हम भी हड़ताल पर बैठेंगे। तो ऐसा समय था और वो संकट से भी गुजरे निकले हम। और 95 का यही वर्ष था मेरे लिए भी। JNU में एकेडमिक काउंसिल में एक अध्यापक के रूप में, एक JNUT एसोसिएशन के प्रेसिडेंट के रूप में बोलने का बहुत सवाल थे। और JNUTA को सच कहें तो उन दिनों बोलने का मौका दिया जाता था और उनकी आवाज को महत्व दिया जाता था। इस तरह से JNUTA में मैं सक्रिय रहा, अंत तक रहा। सन 13 में मैं गांव लौट आया हूं और मुझे अच्छा लगा कि मेरी अनुपस्थिति में जो रिटायर हो रहे थे उन अध्यापकों का जो सम्मान दिया गया उनमें मैं भी था, भले अनुपस्थित था। तो मेरी सब मित्रों को, मेरे सब साथियों को मेरा अभिवादन। और अगर कभी इसके समय लगे तो पहाड़ की तरफ आइए, मेरा घर आपके लिए उपलब्ध रहेगा। आइए, धन्यवाद मित्रों।
Thank you, sir. May I request Professor Gurjesh Pant? Okay. Okay, may I request Professor Murthy? May I request Professor Murthy? Okay. Then I request Professor Pramod Yadav. Okay. Let Professor Murthy join us. Huh? Then anyway, it will take time.
यार ऐसे कर लो, एक यहाँ से बोल लो, एक वहाँ से ले लो, ऐसे भी कर लो अगर नहीं है कोई सामने।
अच्छा, Professor PK Yadav?
Yeah,
Shall I?
आगे
Murthy is right.
Professor Murthy is there, okay, please.
I'm very happy to see a large number of colleagues and dear friends here today. Yes, I have unmuted myself. Can I be heard?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, very much.
Very happy to see many of the distinguished friends and colleagues here. My hearty congratulations to all of you and our collective, the JNUTA, on this very memorable occasion of completion of 50 years. JNUTA has an identity which is inseparable from Jawaharlal Nehru University. The fate of the university is inextricably linked to the health of, I wouldn't say fate, but the health, robust health of our association. May I take a few moments of yours in sharing with you some of my thoughts in terms of three heads. One is the kind of association engagement or experience I have enjoyed over the years with the association at large in some varied capacities. The first time I remember when I joined in 1982, Professor Muni was elected in a uh, very intensely contested election. I remember ranging between the young Turks, the young faculty members, and the established senior colleagues who supported Professor Vishal Singh at the time. First time I went into executive at the behest of Professor Girijesh Pant. My namaskars to him. Now, he was outgoing secretary, and then somebody advised him that here is a fellow, Murthy, who can be roped in. I was joint secretary, 87, if I'm not wrong. And then 13 years later, I was pressed to become secretary along with President Shankar Basu. I must utilize this opportunity of warmly remembering the kind of complete trust he reposed in me in jointly working with other colleagues in the executive to address various challenges in a very tumultuous year 2000. Also, may I also recall my fortune of helping the electoral process of the JNUTA elections at least 3 times or so when Professor Aftab Pasha was in contestation, Shashikant Ji, and so on and so forth. Last also, I must, I'm fortunate enough to serve on behalf of the teaching community in the JNU Executive Council, especially voicing, ventilating the views, aspirations, complaints, comments on behalf of JNUTA community in response to the agenda brought up by the JNU administration. Next, as an ordinary member, I would like to go on record to share with you some of the benefits ordinary members accrue by attending general body meetings, especially GBMs of JNUTA. First and foremost is the benefit of familiarization and building up lasting friendships with friends, colleagues across the schools and departments. I have built so many friendships in social sciences, computer sciences, which I realized when I went to schools in 2014 for my election to the Executive Council. Secondly, I'm very, very happy to say that often you will see in GBMs many colleagues with some grievances or bringing to attention instances of injustice done, either in terms of selection or in terms of bypassing for chairmanship or deanship, etc. So it is quite remarkable that JNUTA, GBMs, and executives have, um, in almost all cases, have stood up by those colleagues, aggrieved colleagues, and upheld the principles that were in contestation. And also, I may say, as in a lighter vein, that GBMs are a source of entertainment. A lot of speeches were used to be made by senior colleagues in both in Hindi and English. It's a lot of learning experience. For example, Hindi speeches made by Parmal Das, very senior colleague. Even Professor Varyam Singh, even Shashikant Jha used to recite Tulsi Das ji's, Ramcharitmanas, Dohas, and so on and so forth. In fact, I learned a bit of Hindi because of my attendance in GBMs. I remember when Professor D.N. Rao contested against Professor Varyam Singh, there was a presidential debate in GBM, very, very, very rare tradition that prevailed briefly. And then Professor Rao was asked, how many GBMs you attended? And he cleverly responded saying that I attended all GBMs whenever I got circular for GBMs, which means that GBM circulars were quite notorious in not reaching the members for information. May also say institutionally, not just individually, institutionally, JNUTA has a rich tradition and credibility of helping JNU at large, especially the administration, overcome serious crisis situations. So as a crisis manager, as a conflict resolver, the JNUTA has helped on numerous occasions, especially before 2016. After 2016, bridges were burnt, unfortunately, and to the catastrophic cost of JNU interest, I would say. So I think any history of JNUTA would go without noticing and paying tribute to the kind of constructive role played by JNUTA in conflict resolution, crisis management. I would also say that JNUTA has been a grooming ground for producing some of the future vice chancellors, future rectors, etc. So it's a kind of tutorial college for prospective administrative leaders of the university in particular and the education sector at large. May I also take this opportunity of bringing to your attention some of the fault lines experienced in the historical, political, ideological evolution of JNUTA. The first fault line, I would say, is that of hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, yes. The first fault line. Please forgive me for listing them. But I would say when we have a reflection, let us have as fair, as unbiased reflection as possible. The first fault line refers to those who are broadly pro-administration candidates propped up by the administration at a particular point of time, ranged against those who are anti-administration, trying to champion the causes of the teacher members against the administration during their term. I think a bulk of the members, including me, for example, have great sympathy and endorse the candidature of the anti-administration lobby, I would say. In this context, also, there are instances when some of the towering personalities played a preeminent role in guiding, in steering, and in leading the movements of JNUTA from time to time. I won't have the time to name some of them. But of course, there is a reverse reaction from some sections in protest against the domineering role played by these individual colleagues, howsoever active their involvement has been. Second fault line is regarding the occasional pro-student inclination exhibited in the general body meetings. As against that point of view, which teachers association interests are distinctly different from, if not superior to, the interests of the students. If there is a clash, conflict between the two sets of interests, JNU teachers' interest should prevail, especially when wardens are out, colleagues are targeted in unparliamentary, uncivil fashion, and so on and so forth. So you will see a lot of colleagues attending GBMs, especially when student issues are raised. So this has caused a lot of heartburn, and sometimes comments are made that JNUTA is a B team of JNUSU. This is the second fault line. The third and last fault line I would submit has ideological connotation. JNU's executive leadership has been known for electing broadly those who have leaning towards one shade or the other of left ideology, whether it is pro-CPI or pro-CPM or pro-ISA, etc. As against this, there is a minuscule minority of right-wingers. In the olden days, R.G. Gupta Saab or even R.C. Gupta in German language, Madan Lal Spanish language, some of them were elected because of their personal outreach activities, building friendship with people. So, for example, I voted for Professor V.K. Jain, though everybody knew that he had sympathies with BJP. But personalities did matter. Even therefore, the point here is to ensure that JNUTA represented different shades of opinion, so that it's an umbrella organization. Unfortunately, after 2016, GBMs witnessed heckling, shouting from the top of the voice, and I gather that recently some counter forum was created with minority of members in order to sideline the importance of JNUTA. Side by side, there is a victimization of JNUTA leadership, representatives in policy making, decision making, which is unfortunate. So I would like to emphasize that the future of JNUTA would be robust when it continues to be diverse in composition, articulation, and may I end by repeating my congratulations and tributes to the founders of the association, the builders of the association all these years, and the present stakeholders, members, office bearers of the association. Thank you very much, Professor Lobia.
Thank you, Dr. Murthy. Thank you. Thank you very much. May I request Dr. Harjeet Singh to next? Thank you. First of all, I must thank JNUTA, like everybody else, that they are giving this opportunity for all of us to come together. Well, I'm little confused after listening to many of earlier speakers. Before I come to that, my conclusion, I will not take a very long time. I know there are many other speakers. I came to JNU in 1971 for my PhD. After coming here, I realized that JNU had introduced a new degree called MPhil. So we were admitted in MPhil. And in 1974, I was doing my PhD in 1974. I got my first job in JNU. That was the job of research assistant, which was changed after 3 months as a research associate.
and research assistant or research associate were eligible member of the JNUTA. So I became member of JNUTA on 23rd February 1974. That is why I was saying that I become a little senior. I've been elected in various capacities in JNUTA, and I have also been very actively participating in various administrative functions in JNU. Now, why I said I am a little confused. First of all, let me say, Dr. Narang said that in spite of being extreme right or extreme left, there used to be debate, and of course there was a debate, and a very healthy debate. But in go by my perception, in the beginning in JNU, we did not have extreme right or extreme left. We had very reasonable people, whether they, went in for left ideology or they went in for little right ideology. But their approach to issues related to JNU was a very centrist approach, which was interest of not only the association, but in the interest of the university and university principals. That was the most important. The other point which I would like to mention clearly, that was the time where teachers association, as you have just now saying, that they were either pro-administration or anti-administration. Again, I don't believe in that category, because I can count not only one, but at least 20 instances where students were facing in very serious trouble and teachers association went to help them, or in situations where administration was facing problems and teachers association helped, because it was in the interest of the university, and that was the constructive goal which JNU teachers association faced. So this is very, very important. So therefore, I will not say that so many times I had to fight with the administration when I was, this thing, vice president of JNUTA or joint secretary or number of times school representative. Even after that, my colleagues will bear me out. There was a time whenever there was some inquiry committee, either I was a chairperson or Rupa was a member, or Rupa was a chairperson or I was a member. And we always took a decision, irrespective of the fact it goes in favor of the administration or it goes in favor of the students or in favor of the teachers. Those teachers' interests were foremost to us, but we stood by those principles, and that was the important, and that is the thing which I learned from this university. And I tell you, it's very important. JNUTA also had a great responsibility even in those days. I remember there was a time students were in very serious problem. Some of the students have been suspended. University set up an inquiry. Professor Malakar was the president of JNUTA. There was an inquiry committee, and he was also a member. He was a member, and I think Sachi was also a member of that inquiry. And students had passed a resolution against the administration. Karamcharis had passed a resolution against the administration. Teacher passed a resolution, but had not disclosed it, because Malakar came and showed me, sir, this is the resolution we have passed. I said, please hold it for 24 hours. Because I didn't want to create a situation where administration or vice chancellor or registrar, and I very strongly feel they were rectors and registrar, they were our own colleagues and they had made a very serious mistake. I knew it. But there was no point in embarrassing them. And I appreciate Malakar. He said, sir, you decide on this. Then that time I'm not going to make this resolution public that we are against administration. And I think we continued that meeting for 10 or 12 hours in my house. And we took a decision, typed it, sealed the decision, handed over to the university. Then I told that now you can do whatever you want, because sir, now that resolution is being there, because the decision has been taken. So this was the kind of trust between different sections, and that trust was basically for the welfare of the university. Because institution and the value of this institution, unfortunately, those values have been forgotten today. I don't have that much time. I can speak for hours how this university, how the principal examination system, evaluation system, how it was evolved, and what was the philosophy behind it. But this is not the time, and there are other systems. And also, let me also tell you, I remember, I think in 74 or 75, my class fellow and very active member, I was in the association. She was rusticated, Soklata Jain I am talking about. Yeah, she was rusticated, and administration, the rector was in touch with me and asking me to ensure we don't want the students leaders to face embarrassment. University was saying that she must apologize. The rector was telling me, make sure she doesn't apologize. This is going to have a very serious repercussion on the student movement. That was the situation. That was the kind of, and similarly, I also remember it was the teacher initiative, and including the initiative from some very senior administrators of the university who were primarily teachers, but holding other positions, because then this SFC was set up. SFC was a very important body. The purpose was the student and teacher sit together and resolve all issues. And student had the right to raise every issue except evaluation. That was a very powerful thing which was done, and where administration participated, the rector, dean was behind the whole idea, and they appreciated that we should have that kind of thing. There are a lot of checks and balances. So anyway, this is how this is JNUTA is not like any other institution. JNUTA was something which was a body with values. For us, fighting on the basis of ideology was the what was important for us is that this university should survive. And unfortunately, I cannot feel confident that this university will survive. And so far I am concerned, I'm always reminded, I'll end with that, reminded of a joke that somebody was moving around on this road and a three-wheeler fellow came, he stopped near him and said, can you tell me the way out? And I'm for 2 hours, I'm going round and round. That fellow said, you are lucky only for 2 hours, but for the last 10 years, I'm going round and round. I don't know how to go out. And I'm a person who started my all academic activity in 1971 in JNUTA, and I continued till 2017, right? And I have not worked in any other institution, though I have been on the various committees, and I have offered very important position in some other universities. I completely refused because I thought, and then I just wrote one small incident. One vice chancellor, I had gone for a selection committee, and he was after me that you join my university. I'll give you all maximum possible increment, and I will give you a house, I will give you this facility, that facility. So I said, sir, it will not be possible. He said, you people are so bound up, inhaling that filthy air of Delhi. Why don't you come here? I said, sir, forget about the air. But what JNU can give me, your university and you can never give me that. And that was the extent of it. Do we have that chance? Think about it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think we have an exhibition, and Dr. Avinash has taken a good initiative along with other team members. And a lot of efforts have gone to dig out all old records. And I think there are many more records to be digged out, and it will take time. And with the time will come with more documents and
what has happened in the past and what we have done in Renaissance. And many things will come out from there. That will be. But anyway, I'll request Professor P.K. Yadav. Professor P.K. Yadav?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Well, good afternoon. It's great opportunity actually for me to reunite with my JNU fraternity and to see some of my colleagues and my younger colleagues as well as the ones who worked along with me. Well, it's really great time to celebrate Golden Jubilee of our being. And this is also the occasion of doing some retrospection and introspection. Nostalgia is unavoidable, but I will try not to be nostalgic so much as addressing to the point. JNU Teachers Association has had among its office bearers people who also did equally well, unquestionably well, at their assigned professions as teachers, professors, associate professors, or whatever they were. And this is one point for pride for JNU, beginning with Professor Yogen Singh and his predecessors when the associations were combined, and all the successors. They were distinguished scholars in their own respective fields. That is one thing that adds to our morale. The other thing is in personal spheres as well, they were watchful. I see right in front of me Professor Arun Kumar. We walked together and shared lots of time. Whenever there was a water tank overflowing, he would make it a point to immediately pass the message to the sections in engineering branch which would control water flow, water filling of the overhead tanks in school buildings and also elsewhere. And if there was a water tap that we saw leaking, we would go and personally close it and inform the household that, look, this was going on the road, so we were doing it. These are very small things, but these reflect the commitments of the individuals I mentioned towards well-being of the university, their own consciousness of the environment, conservation of the environmental factors, and so on. That besides, the sensitivity towards the community, that was another thing on display very often in their personal behavior and personal life. So I was privileged to be associated with JNUTA. In fact, thanks to my friends, Professor Anand Kumar, who is missing from the scene. He is probably somewhere else occupied in Banaras. And Professor Arun Kumar and many others. I can't be naming all. Please pardon me for that. And also I see Rupmanjari Ghosh, I saw. I see Professor Narang in front of me. Actually, the picture is somewhat demagnified for me, so I can't make out everyone. Whosoever, I had sought advice from each one of you individually. I do see, are you trying to magnify this? Yeah, okay. That's all right, that's all right. I sought advice from each one of you, and honestly, I got the advice, right advice, kind of advice always. So I was in JNUTA as secretary and as president in different years. I had to represent the causes of teaching community against the prevailing view of administration very often, because as a trade union, you have to be anti-establishment by default. Establishment has its own priorities, and you have to have your objective evaluation of that. So I recall two things very vividly. One, when we got the grants for university with potential for excellence, the first release was 30 crores. And our then Vice Chancellor, in his wisdom, I would not be calling names, he had thought that this could be shared between two science schools a School of Life Sciences and a School of Biotechnology in the proportion of 18-12, and that will be all done. And I, as president of the Teachers Association, had to represent the university. And I told him, sir, this is a grant for recognizing the excellence of the university, not grants recognizing the excellence of life sciences or biotechnology separately. So please consider equitable distribution among all centers, all departments of the university. I had difficult times. I was being told as being traitors by my own colleagues in life sciences. They said, you are from life sciences and you should speak for life sciences. I said, no, I should not be speaking for life sciences alone. And even if I were nobody in JNUTA Teachers Association, I will take the view that this is a grant for the university, not for life sciences or biotechnology or any other center. Please pardon me, colleagues from biotechnology and life sciences, if you are hearing me, because that is still my opinion, that it would have been very unfair. Luckily, I could somehow prevail, and it was agreed that the grants will be shared between life sciences and humanities and languages and computer sciences, elsewhere, wherever. And they had to evolve a policy for more objectively arriving at what is meant by equitable distribution. So I said, well, the needs and compulsions may be different in different centers. You have to interact with them, invite two colleagues from each center, perhaps, and arrive at a policy which will be agreeable overall. That was one thing which I remember very well. The other thing was, thanks to Professor Arun Kumar once again, I requested him to please look after the academic component of the JNU Teachers Association. And over 1 year, he convened as many as 56 seminars, 56, some of them being day-long exercises in the proportion of symposia, okay? And there was an outcome of that challenges facing universities today. That also we gave shape of a booklet under his editorship. I wish that is still available on for reference in JNUTA archives. That is one thing. My colleagues were also kind to send me as elected representative to the Executive Council in 2010, when Professor Sudhir Sapori had taken over as Vice Chancellor. And then, the registrar's intervention in proceedings of the Executive Council were so annoying for me. I had to tell the Vice Chancellor, Mr. Vice Chancellor, no one should speak on your behalf as long as you are present in the meeting. Okay, is he echoing your feelings? Then he said, no, he's having his own independent opinion. I said, please remind him that his job is mainly to serve as secretary to the council, not as the guide to the Executive Council. And Professor Sapori, although he was a very polite person, he wanted to be equally polite to registrar and to me, which he could not be on this issue. He said, yes, I think he understands this. And we proceeded, and we proceeded. So this was something which I remember with some degree of pleasure for myself. How many of our representations had consequences and how many did not have, that is a subject for evaluation. Very often, on the face of your representation, the administration says, yes, we shall look into it, or some vague consent to what you propose, but somehow put it in the cold bag and it is never to be reopened. That kind of a thing happens very often. I also had, a few years with the new regime after Professor Sapori. I do not want to mention names again. You know who it is. And he asked me, he maintained the tradition of calling retiring faculty over a cup of tea. And, we all assembled. There were 17 of us that year in 2017. And he said, well, Professor Yadav, maybe you can reflect on your experiences of JNU and so on. So I said, well, Ms. Vice Chancellor, I think we had very distinguished people among our Vice Chancellors. All of them had their unique personality, scholarship, distinction, and everything. But one thing that they also had was a very humane kind of interaction with the community. And whenever we had a family function or something, a wedding in the family or even a birthday party, and we invited them, they would respond. Unfortunately, you seem to be ignoring this aspect of interaction with this community. And I think this is something which you need to work on. But he had not yet forgotten the fact that, JNUTA had organized a public court for evaluation of his own functioning after joining. Within 1 year or so of his joining, lots of things had happened in JNUTA, which were quite, in JNU, not JNUTA, which were not quite conforming with the ethos of the university. And he had been invited to present his side of why he is behaving like this. And a few other colleagues were also called, Professor Prabhat Patnaik, Professor Jha from Delhi University, myself, and a few colleagues. And he was invited to present along with all of us. He absented from that meeting. He did not come. And this was a great example of how you could present yourself in public, justify whatever you are doing, or abstention from such a meeting meant perhaps that they are confessing to their faults. But who cares? He proceeded to ruin the university and ruin to the extent he could, and was duly rewarded for doing so. I must just look back and recall that by and large, science faculty in life sciences, physical sciences, computers, and other science departments, they were very averse to participating actively in JNU Teachers Association. They would call them JNUTA Wale or something of this kind. And they would generally go with establishment. They were happy with whatever the Vice Chancellor wanted to say and so on. So there were occasions on which they came to the meetings of JNUTA in large numbers, like 18 of life science colleagues attending a meeting. This was a rare thing. When Anand Kumar had criticized the JNU magazine having 60% covered by vice chancellors or rectors' photographs and so on, when he questioned this and said that they should account for it, invited a meeting of JNUTA, then 18 colleagues from life sciences came, and they all went with bowing heads because Anand Kumar had very forcefully said this was not done. This is JNU magazine, and JNU magazine should cover all aspects of JNU rather than just photographs of vice chancellors and rectors. One of his own teachers was there in the meeting, and he also felt bowed down with that. But that besides, this is all nostalgia. What I must say that JNUTA followed, JNU, even JNUSU for that matter, follows, and they are aware of one thing, that there should be a natural course of justice in situations of dispute. It should be followed. Each student of JNU knows, and each teacher knows. And this is what JNUTA had to repeatedly intervene in. We had made a point to extend the 62 to 65 by default rather than having to evaluate with chosen committees. which were often arbitrary. I know that I'm overshooting my time. I will just wind up. And so the Vice Chancellor's concern was why you want a default extension. I said, no extension. We let the terms go to 65 in natural course, rather than we picking up a few experts of our choice and they go in favor or against the proposal of an extension. This is more often doing harms than doing any good to the university. So that was another intervention that I had to make. I mean, apart from me, most of my predecessors and successors have been doing the same job in one form or the other, on one issue or the other. And that is where JNUTA, existence of JNUTA is a must for keeping the university on track, the university administration particularly on track. With those few words, I once again send my greetings to all of you and congratulate the present JNUTA team, which is lucky to have this occasion in their tenure. I wish I was present there to interact with you personally and also to go along with you towards all the trees that surround you. They are familiar to me, and I miss them being at a distance. So thank you very much for organizing this meeting. Remind yourself of your answerability to the community, and that will keep us in good stead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Bhutia. I'm lucky that I have worked with half of the team as a representative, or when Dr. Rupa was there, I was joint secretary as well as school rep. When TK Yadav was there, I was treasurer. And that booklet you are talking about, it is put there in the exhibition.
Wonderful, wonderful.
We put there. So I was treasurer at that time, so I remember it very well.
Yeah.
So, I request Dr. Rupa to have a gender.
Good afternoon. My throat is getting away, so excuse me for that. But I start by really thanking Lopial when he called. I almost couldn't believe it has been 50 years. I've been reading some of the literature. So it's an occasion I couldn't have missed. I came here mostly to see your faces and to hear some of the old voices. JNU has been so dear to us, and I think the predecessors have more or less said the principles on which we work. I really like Professor Harjit Singh said, there's lots of memories. I'm one person who has sort of been on all sides maybe of the JNU community. I was never a student, people forget that. I was never a student of JNU. I joined in November 1988, 1st of November 1988. When the School of Physical Sciences started, it was only 1 year old. We are kind of the founders of that school. I learned from each of my seniors and juniors, and that's the treasure I still have. You won't believe it, even all the experiences of JNUTA and otherwise, learning from my JNU colleagues. I've seen me through when I left JNU to take on some of the administrative role outside. And the main thing has been participatory management. That's something our term 2004, if I remember correctly, 2004 December. It became a very busy time for me. I've been in JNUTA before that. As a joint secretary, I learned a lot from first-hand from Anurag Shinoy. I learned a lot from Anand. I've seen their personality in action. Professor Kumar as a friend, and everybody. Academic council meetings used to be a real pleasure. We agreed to disagree often, but one thing JNUTA was lacking maybe is a consciousness on gender. And that came in, if you remember correctly, 1997, the Vishaka judgment happened. And, I'm a physicist and total novice in all of these things. I did not know anything. maybe that became my strong point, that I actually did not know much. So I came with no presumptions, and I learned from scratch, questioned whatever I found not logical. And this building, reclaiming of that happened during my time. The old furniture that JNU was throwing away, and we sort of did it. I still remember the pleasure and the joy I saw in my people and the way we did things. Those 2 years were really helpful me personally. Before that, I remember 2001, GS Cash at the time, I believe JNU had managed to abolish that. So in GS Cash, I was just remembered from JNUTA, because it was supposed to have Aisha Joy was the chair, and Aisha felt ill. So I was abroad on my research in Paris. I came back and I was told that they have elected you as the president, the chair of this time. And I knew nothing about, I mean, I was learning, but I did not know anything except your own experiences, and you have your eyes and ears wide open. I learned from Aisha because we are all people that really had a lot more experience than me. And it was the JNUTA representative who was the chair of GS made the GS rules go through the JNU Executive Council. First time, a historic moment, 2001. Because that rules and procedures of GS became a role model for the entire country. This is the quote. And now JNU has, of course, shown it away. But, and then twice over, review committees were formed to go through the rules and procedures. And every time I was actually the chair of the committee. Again, learned from everybody, taking all the views in, agreeing to disagree, and cashing it out for only one principle, and that was about excellence. Equity came as a natural thing for excellence. If you want to build an excellent institution, you cannot leave half of your population away. As simple as that. So everybody has to get to their fullest potential, and JNUTA led the way. I was so proud, I can't tell you. Lobiel was going to both countries that time. I was young Dr. Lobiel, not a professor at the time. And all of us sort of worked together, learned from each other, criticized, worked really hard. The biggest thing probably everybody remembers in that term, the elected representation in the Executive Council of JNU. That was going on for 26 years or something like that. And we clinched it. And I remember struggling for it. It was a lot of struggle personally, going from office to office, figuring out the files, creating that momentum, negotiating with the ministry. Often I had to do it alone. And it was advantages to the country woman. People could not quite yell at me easily. And I could actually argue, and they never had a better argument to shut me up. So that came through. And that was a fantastic thing at the end of our term, that we could actually achieve the representation of the people. The several things we took up those 2 years, and every time it was like a tick mark, we actually delivered. Before anybody else, we could see how JNU was expanding. And we felt that, our heads should be put together to have a logical plan of expansion, considering the environment we have at JNU. Now, every day you hear speeches about sustainability, and I think this work starts from home. And in 2005, we formed the first environmental committee from stalwart inside the meeting, and then we brought in all the experts from outside to have a map of what can be done for JNU, and what is the legal position, why exactly are we so proud of what is the uniqueness of the JNU corner? Because if you can note an article in JNU, I've got some of those old, they're all in my computer for some reason, still there. Yes, I'll give you actually the entire folder I found. I mean, I was looking for it last night, and I printed out a few. Everything, there's an agenda items we took up, and all of you came together, and we did it together, and that's the power of the JNUTA at that time. And there was no really them and us, and President was saying, we really made it like us. I mean, I was so proud to be leading, so to say, this body of stalwarts, academic stalwarts. And we used to say JNUTA has a good muscle power, JNU has a brain power. JNUTA, in Petkuta, we are minuscule. And this entire retirement is, you should read, I found my own letter that has submitted to Arjun Singh. The argument, Arjun would not agree, he's an economist, but I picked up economic ideas saying that now longevity is more. So if you do not retire at 60, you retire at 65, you pay taxes for 5 more years. So, and less pension. And Arjun Singh told me, I've never heard such an argument before. So I said that I will put it here because President Kalam was visiting and Arjun Singh had come for that. And there are not too many people outside JNUTA who could actually entertain the intellectually engage with the ministers and all the secretaries were present. So I took that opportunity to print those 2 letters that I had. One was on retirement age, and the second one was equally important, but the most important one, Rohan was my secretary, and Rohan and I had put up the big argument, if you remember, on the flight path over JNU. Planes did not let us work, sleep, and the wildlife that we talked about, it was really, really something for the wildlife. So I did some research to get it out, checked with Rohan, and then we wrote a huge article on that. And that was also the opportune moment because DDA master plan was, Delhi master plan was being made. And we have put an objection to the master plan saying this has not been included. The flight path over JNU should be altered. And we went all the way to fight. And the letter went in Professor Chadda's name, he was the Vice Chancellor, but it was drafted by me. This time it was sent because such a powerful note only could have come from JNUTA. And I think that was our strength. We are not acting in opposition, but the idea was that the best argument win. You argue with me, if you win, I'll give it to you. If I win, let's listen to it. Simple. And that's what JNU was all about. That's what the strength of JNU faculty was. And I can't tell you how proud, even today I am, of having the years at JNU and having learned from each one. All over the world, wherever I go, I find a JNU somewhere. And it's always a proud moment. And I'm not apologetic about anything. You know, we did things to the best of our ability. And that participatory management, what it really means, JNUTA taught me that. And I taught whoever I could in the Pink Palace or elsewhere. Participatory management in the true sense of that word, because you know that's where our strength lies. And if this is now again a catchy phrase that I learned from JNUTA, but everywhere I go in all panels, well, maybe I'll joke me in for tomorrow. You will hear some and you'll see. I'll give you more concrete examples of what the vision that I learned working in the private sector, building a new university. But it's all credit to JNUTA. Credit to JNUTA that where we are today. And overall, it's credit to JNU. I never actually isolated JNUTA from JNU. And most of the speakers were also saying, because, you know, the strength that you say is people-led. You realize that administration vice chancellors come for a maximum of 5 years. Some the term I've seen closely from. But the teachers stay for 30 years on the average. So there is no consistency of vision from top. The vision comes from this gathering. And that's what I think people don't realize. It's probably going to change a lot of structural changes I'm seeing in the higher education sector. But I think that is the point. Point is the teachers are here spending their lifetime in this university or wherever they are in their respective universities. And the vision from the top is completely missing. Because if people are from outside, they come here, they take about 1.5 years to figure out the JNU ways. And the last year, they used to look for planning commission placement or things like that. So they really had very little time to concentrate on what is really good, what is the vision and mission for JNU, to think about all of it. And insiders, when they got promoted as vice chancellors, that was another story because they come with their own biases, they probably could not see it. But I also had examples of excellent vice chancellors and rectors that I have interacted with, and I'm not going to say they all are from this association. the major thing is that the excellence I talked about, and that's what, if you are no good, like I think Rohan Yadav also said, that they're all scholars in their own domain. If you're no good, you'd always be cutting corners. And, excellence, this was shortcuts too. JNU, each faculty, when they're fired, there's a scrutiny that went, that, was really outside of everything. And after you have come to that scrutiny, at the point of 60, 62, 63, to, sort of insult them by another level of scrutiny by maybe people who are not even competent. That was something that fought for even at that time. But it was more a debate time. I was not saying to do a lot of fighting of that kind, but it was a debate that we brought every issue in the debate form, placed it face to face, and the better team always won. And I don't have to tell you this one, but the team. So I think I thank you all for being my colleagues. I am now 66. So it's been long years, still not retired, too busy, but not playing. And I was telling Logan, I have become extremely busy, but I was traveling, but I really changed my program to be able to be with you today and tomorrow. And I've just kept something for the next 2 days. So it's for my love for you and my moreover respect for the excellence you all brought to JNU and the students you produced, given the pride. And I'm really, really so proud of that. So thanks for organizing this 50 more years to JNUTA. And I visited Damia 10 days back. A student of mine, Daisy Kavya, is now acting director of the Nanoscience Center. And I have to give a special lecture. And he drove to my house in Noida to just to drop me back. And he's the only person of recent times that I've heard when we're discussing, state of affairs, blah, blah. He says, ma'am, like in physics, we read about the pendulum or oscillating motion. It must have hit the bottom and it would rise back. So maybe this is the pit, this is the bottom. It can't go down any further. It must rise. And this may be the cycle. I've never heard anybody being so optimistic about it, having gone through all that they have gone through. But, he gave me a hope. And I felt I'll also try to preach that. This may be the pit, and then it has to rise up. There is no other way out of this opposition world. So thank you very much, and thanks, Yogiar, and thanks, Avinash, for being.
Thank you, Dr. Ram. Now, from this, I remember a prayer from Faiz Ahmad Faiz. Very good. He said, दिल नाउमीद तो नहीं, नाकामी तो है. दिल नाउमीद तो नहीं, नाकामी तो है. लंबी है गम की शाम, मगर शामी तो है. जैसे मेरा भी मैं रिक्वेस्ट करती तमिलनाडु.
लगता है फेसबुक पे काफी एक्टिव हो. मैंने भी आज यही पढ़ा.
अच्छा ना, मैंने वहाँ बहुत पहले पढ़ा था.
आप बैठ कर हाथ जान रहे हैं.
Friends, like all of you, I have the same nostalgia or whatever. It's kind of, or part of me. Today, JNU is such a place. Once you enter here as a student, even if you don't come in faculty, you all life remain a sort of enamored of you. I have found very few people who have studied in JNU and have tried to condemn it. They all feel that JNU has it. So that's how it is. For me also, it started from 1975. So Center of Indian Language started PhD in Hindi first time, and I had applied and I got into a call, but I was in jail because of emergency. So I could not be bailed out and I couldn't come. And in 76, I gave the test, I was selected, and two of our, JNU students from Center of Indian Language, Vijay Shankar Chaudhary and myself, both were debarred because of police report. Prior to that, in SIS, Mohandan, the famous journalist, he was debarred. But I was, surprised, pleasantly surprised,
then I thought that only we three were in the family. But there was resistance in those times as well. Because in the book which has come now, this book also our RSS at the book, I found that history center, Professor Vimilla Thapar, Professor Jatin Chandra, they had resisted to cancel the admission of some students, and they were able to get them admitted. That is myself, because I used to see JNUTA record. So their names were referred. Their names were not referred, which were actually admitted, and that also is a part that even during emergency, our faculty and students, as you know, this thing is now known. So everybody has been resistant. Now, I joined Pinaki University Kerala, and in Pinaki University Kerala, you will be surprised it's not a very cool. But the very first president of JNU SC, JNU student, Omkarnath Shukla, he was part of Pinaki University faculty. So even in a secret group, we were together. Unfortunately, we died in an accident. So later on, when it came to JNU again in 2005, so it was 20 years gap. And for me, it was a kind of emotional kind of thing. I wanted to integrate to all my old friends. And most of my old friends, those who were students in my time, they were mostly in JNUTA, like and so many others. So after joining, immediately I started attending JNU, JNUTA body meeting, etc. As someone else has referred. Even without being confirmed, in 2005 itself, I was elected vice president along with Rupa and and the very next year, so I was elected president. Now, this time, many times, there was consensus. In our times also, there was consensus. There was contest, but sometimes there was consensus. Now, in that time, I tell you interesting thing. When I joined, I was also active in the speaker assembly. There I was part of the speaker team there. So here because we used to interact with people personally. So when here I joined, Rupa used to send me. There was no personal interaction. I was very, irritated at it. Why Rupa is doing this? Why not giving circular personally to the people, to the executive members in their room and meeting and talking. But what happened in 2006 or 7 when I started doing the same. Yeah, this kind of that your way change the social. So I had been part of that time when meeting personal people, talking about meeting and all that. And when actually the first election to executive council of JNU was held, it was a long time demand that there must be elected members from JNU teachers. So one professor, one assistant professor, one assistant professor. The first election after my term was over, the community was present, and he contested from professor constituency, and I contested against him. Now the beauty of this thing. So we were friends, and we were part of this, as many have mentioned, the part of the left organization, etc. So, but I told Kamal that, we must give it a democratic shape that we are contesting. When I was, we never used the harsh word for each other. Never. In my mail or meeting people, I know many friends must be harsh with so that's well, so our vote is limited. Fine. So there was nothing kind of there. So that kind of atmosphere, starting from our student life, that has percolated, to the later part. And another thing which I would like to refer to, JNUTA has a very kind of bridge between JNU SU and JNU admission. Many times they had to play that. In my time also, there was talking of JNU president and some other. There were some unpleasant incidents, etc. But then, always, whenever JNU president was suffering as some level saying that they had a bias, JNU had bias in favor of them. So we had played that role that they must not be, and many of them are Maran, all of us we have been going to their meetings, etc. So ultimately, that was resolved, to the satisfaction. And also, many times, you have to, you see, JNUTA is somewhere different from other universities, etc. I have been part of the university also. First priority of general teacher association is the interests of teachers, right? Financial interest, their career interest, etc. But here, these interests are also there, but academic interest also. There has never been, JNUTA has never compromised with this kind of thing, that people should just do unionism and don't teach or don't do research, etc. So most of our JNUTA activists, presidents, secretaries, they all have an excellent academic record as well. There many of them are in black economy, famous, world over. So I have been reading in Patiala black economy. So that kind of thing, even after retirement, most of the people when retire from universities or from other institutions, they think that now you have to just relax and you have to do nothing. But the habit formed in JNU is such, at least many of us, that retirement doesn't matter. When your study table remains same, otherwise also in JNU, you were not supposed to come every day, you came to the day. Now, afterwards also, when I was like etc., they were regular in library for all the time after retirement till they left. So I am not regular to the library, but I am regular to my own study table and here whenever I can. So that is a kind of thing, and you want to do something. And things have been changing such a way in remembering something which I want to share also. PC Joshi archive was set up in JNU when PC Joshi had given his archive of the communist movement way back in 72-73. And there was an agreement, two people have played a role in that, Professor Rashiduddin Khan and one from history. Now, that agreement was made. PC Joshi was paid also for the collection, but he was offered full-time directorship with a professor's house. He lived just 4 years. That archive was part of Center for Historical Studies. Their faculty member used to be its director by rotation for 2 years. Recently, when I checked for this, I had set up Bhagat Singh archive. I brought Bhagat Singh here with some effort to JNU in his birth and me in 2007-8. That chair has still not been filled, but I wanted to gift my own archives for that, because that Bhagat Singh chair was meant for having an archive also. But that was tried, it could be set up in JNU, it could not be set up. I had to set up in Delhi archive, but it's close to the state of JNU. That was one thing. Now, here, PC Joshi archive. At one time I was offered that you can gift it to the PC Joshi archive. So I said, I won't do that. If you can have a separate section for archives, then I will can give it. No. A few years ago, when I was visiting the archives, I was told, now it's part of library administration. Center for Historical Studies and Center for Political Science have no control over it. They have no director, no advisory board, nothing. And one vice chancellor, you may name it, I can name him also. So this is the and there were photographs of huge portraits of Marx and Lenin. He was, offended. Why Marx and Lenin photographs are there? The staff told him, sir, this is part of PCJC archive. It has come with all the books and other things. So then, I think irritated from this, he just captured the archive and took it control from Center for Historical Studies, etc. So these are the things which have been, happening. But I'm happy that when 2016 or Sneha Kumar incident has happened, JNUTA, as per tradition, has stood with students has to taste even beating. I know I have been beating, I have been coming also those days, that they have gone to court. They were teachers, not only Kanyakumar, other teachers had gone 7 to 8 teachers, and our Sucharita, when this meeting was held, and they were attacked, they had suffered injuries by the grooms, whosoever they were, but I will call them grooms only. So as they were, so these are the kind of things, and I know that it has, the tradition is continuing. Maybe some sort of situation is coming where silence is becoming more, but still, I know the Plural and art, all the things, they still stand with students and they continue, although the democratic voice in general is getting slow down. For 3-4 years, it was very strong, but for the last 2-3 years, it's getting slowed down. It may slow down, but it must not end. Because जैसे शेर पड़ा फैसला आपने लंबी गम की पन शाम तो शाम ही है, तो शाम ही रहे, सवेरा फिर हो, यही मेरी इच्छा है। और वो सवेरा ऐसा हो जिसमें जैसे JNU, actually JNU reputation is world over. But being JNU teacher, in these periods, we have also faced all kinds of things. I have been going to seminars at so many places. Whenever you land at in an airport, you come out, the guard, your policeman, you have to show identity card. When you show JNU, they will start laughing or smiling. Well, which means you belong to a place which has no respect in this regime. So that is the kind of thing. Some people, many times, some auto rickshaw wala, कल परसों किसी auto rickshaw wala, इतनी वो दिमाग उनका किया हुआ है वाइट बात कि जेल में ये होता है, जेल में वो होता है. But then I try to tell them कि अगर आपके बच्चे पढ़ सकते हैं, गरीबों के बच्चे, तो JNU में पढ़ सकते हैं. और कोई यूनिवर्सिटी नहीं है जिसमें आपको अफोर्ड कर सको. तो वो JNU की ही जो है, और आपके बच्चे अगर कोई बड़े से बड़े औहदों तक पहुंच सकते हैं तो JNU में पढ़ के पहुंच सकते हैं. और आपको कहीं जो है किसी दूसरी जगह से पहले तो बात आप फीसें नहीं अफोर्ड कर सकते, और दूसरी बात आप फीसें कर भी लेंगे तो उसके बाद से उनको नौकरी PM और क्लब से ज्यादा नहीं मिलने वाली, बहुत वेरी फ्यू. बट once they come to JNU, their personality grows like anything. And especially people coming from Adivasi background, Dalit backgrounds, coming from far off villages, their personality grows within a year or so. Their language also. But I also was not able to speak in English anytime. So, but slowly and slowly, the whole culture overtakes you, and slowly and slowly you keep on learning and growing. So that's how, if I give credit to whatever I have been doing on Bhagat Singh and everything, I will give credit to JNU. Because I have been studied in JNU, that's how I have been able to do some kind of things which are useful for society, which is our contribution to society. This is one thing which JNU teaches you as a student or whatever faculty, that your duty is toward your society also. The society has given you something, you have to pay back. That is, this kind of teaching you do not get in other universities. Other universities or other places, you just learn how to make your career, how to make money. This is the kind of thing which you are learning. But here also that section is there, which are after money or after career or after anything, after power. After all, like to win. That Modi government is running on the basis of maybe how much they can learn. The most powerful Mr. Finance Minister and the Foreign Minister, they are from JNU. They are studying JNU. Without JNU, you also cannot run the government whom you hate. So that's how, because Jayashankar and Nirmala would not have got that kind of intelligence or whatever if they had not studied in JNU. Nirmala's husband himself is telling about what is happening and what, So I think I can continue, but I think it's time, but I am happy because in 2007, this was when my term was there, that was the time, first time we gathered all the past, present and secretary. Many of them, came at that time also. Today also, the same is the kind of thing, not all people can come. But that was also very warm kind of, gathering, and people were, very warm. That's how today also I found that atmosphere. And I congratulate JNUTA, I congratulate Miguel, Vinash and their team. And I wish this kind of thing, actually we had started celebrating Foundation Day of JNUTA on 21st March. 2 years continued. I think JNUTA should make it a kind of regular feature that Foundation Day should be celebrated. And as many old people or retired people could come, those who are able to come, they should come. And we come happily. We do not come here as under some compulsion also. There are many times you have compulsion to go. There is nothing compulsion to go. When I have come in the morning, and I'm enjoying the whole day here. So thank you a lot, and all the best for JNUTA. And JNUTA must continue the tradition of resistance and academic. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Banwal जी. अभी हमारा जो इलेक्शन का शेड्यूल गड़बड़ हो रहा है मार्च में, इसलिए हम फाउंडेशन डे नहीं मना पाते. So we'll bring the schedule back to November, and then we'll be able to celebrate Foundation Day in March. अभी इलेक्शन मार्च में होता है, उसी में Foundation Day निकल जाता है. That's the problem we are facing. But in previous because of Corona, election got delayed. Anyway, now we'll listen to Dr. Rohan. Dr. Rohan, yes, please. Unmute yourself.
Sorry, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I was listening to all the previous speakers. Am I loud enough? Yeah. Okay. All right. Listen, I'm slightly, I'm slightly moved by watching some of my colleagues and friends, and I must say that I should say that right now I'm in Japan, in Kyoto, very far away. It's almost 8:30, and I'm still here in my office because it was at 6 Japan time, and I normally leave at 6:15, so I'm staying here late just to listen. I joined JNU as a student in 1988, and then, with the exception of 3 years, I left only in 2015. So the best years of my life really were in JNU. So for me, whether it is JNUSU, where I was secretary, and whether it is JNUTA, it was just a part of being at home for me, that period of my life. And I often joke with my friends that, I left JNU, but it's very hard for the JNU to leave me. Yeah. And so, in many ways, I'm not, there are too many memories to actually just simply convey them in this Zoom online talk. But I just want to say a few very quick things. One is that I'm completely aware of what is happening, since 2015, 2016. It saddens me a great deal sometimes, and I've often woken up in the middle of the night very, very extremely worried and very sad for many of the things that have been happening. But then every once in a while, you get this story or this report of how JNU still fights back, the JNU I know and the JNU I treasure and value. And it's very deeply inspiring, so it doesn't really matter where we are. Some part of us always remains in that campus. That's the way I understand it. And so there are small aspects of our ongoing struggle that it might look that it's happening within the campus, but its impact, its implications are all over the world. Yeah. And I'm in various WhatsApp groups with lots of people in different parts as well. And we're always talking about JNU, always responding. And so I just want to add that we are still in JNU in that sense. Yeah, we're still aware, we're still informed. That said, let me say a few words about the small time that I spent as the General Secretary of the TA. Mind you, when I first became the TA Secretary, I continued to be very confused about JNUSU and JNUTA because I kept introducing myself on many occasions as Secretary JNUSU. And then I would get Rupanji Ghosh prodding, no, no, TA, you're in TA now. So that continuity and that, that part was something that I used to always wonder that, and even now, though I teach at Kyoto University, often when I'm called to speak in some seminar conference, it just comes out of me. I always say, and I'm at Jawaharlal Nehru University. Oh, and then I say was, and then I then say Kyoto University. So it's always so much of that campus is so much part of my life that it's really hard to see how I can have any thinking outside of it and an imagination that is outside of it at all. But let me just thank everyone. That even in these difficult times, you continue to do things that give us hope, that allow us to preserve our memories and our past in a very positive light. Yeah, it's very important that if there is no past, there is no future, and for us, that there is a part of this campus that continues to struggle, continues to push for those ideas that are so valuable to all of us. It makes a big difference. I mean, other speakers have mentioned various aspects about their time at JNUT, and I don't think I want to do that right now because it just it's not something I can immediately recollect, except for one thing, perhaps. Uh, Rupa mentioned about the the flight pattern over JNU. I still remember I used to be really disturbed about the noise of those planes. I used to live in old transit house, and really, it was like a landing strip. Literally, everything would rumble. And so I remember taking those notes down seriously and going all the way somewhere in East Delhi, and then waiting throughout the day as the DDA plan. They were listening to various speakers, and then suddenly they said, "Oh, we have also a petition from JNU." And then I got up and I said, lots of us are teachers and faculty members and students. We really need that silence in order for us to work. And I made a long kind of big speech, and they listened to us in absolute wonderment. Nobody knew what to say exactly. And I said, okay, I said, Karo, just submit the petition. Ho gaya, it's over. And of course, I left. I came back, and then Rupa also told me that, the vice chancellor was moving it, and despite the fact that it was a very difficult thing to challenge the airport and air traffic, we nonetheless put forward that claim. And so, what I learned from that is, no matter how hopeless sometimes the situation is, and how defeated you can be, and how much the odds are stacked against you. If you hold on to your ground and you stand with what you think is correct, I think there's always a possibility that uh, uh, at some point, the sheer force of the fact that you're going to stand up for that, that itself becomes a huge reward for maybe generations to come. Let me end. I don't know. I'm not making sense because at some level I'm just getting very emotional. Uh, I just want to say that um, um, uh, the TA uh, is a very unique institution because it allows us to understand that much of our teaching is always really about a debate about justice and values, and that you can't see really the teaching apart from our politics and our ideas. Yeah, and I thought many of our discussions in TA, many of the stuff we fought for, the underlying aspect to that was that we all believed that JNU was and is a very important home for us, and we're all struggling to keep that home, no matter what the odds are. And so I should just end by thanking the organizers for giving me this opportunity, but also the belief that JNU is still there, and that every day I can expect that all my memories and my pasts uh, will not be something that I will be wiped off a slate, but will be very much part of how maybe different generations to come will experience that campus. Thank you so much again. And I can see Professor Anand Kumar, very articulate and someone who can put forward these ideas in a far more grand and brilliant way. So I'm going to yield the floor very quickly to him. Sorry, I was not very coherent. It's also 8:30 at night here. I've got to go back. But I can see Lobial. I want to say hello to everyone, and I can see Shomojit. The first election that I fought in JNU was Shomojit was running for president, and I was a counselor for SSS. Yeah, so it's good to see that continuity, and good to see you there. Thank you so much, and good evening. Well, good afternoon in India, but good evening from me here in Kyoto. Bye.
Thank you, Rohan. Thank you. Yes. Recall that we fought together against the second term of the Vice Chancellor in the EC. We are together.
Yes. I'm sorry, Lobial ji. Sorry, I everybody there. I have some past with, so I'm sorry I didn't.
No, I'm not telling you. What I'm saying is, see, the question came that the first EC, because after the president gave his accent, he could not hold the election because 3-4 months before the members were nominated, and they continued till 2 years because the approval came in 2006, but already nominated members were there 6 months before, so they continued till 2008, and the first election was held in 2008. Tamil Nadu, you are referring to. I was also contesting Kamal, and me and Rohan were together in the final. I recall it. Anyway, and now may I request.
I just wanted to say, yes, there was also this book that came out that from JNUSU side. I hope we can have something equivalent to this for JNUTA, JNU stories. Yeah, some of us have written for this as well. Yeah, okay, all right. Thank you. Good evening. Bye, and Professor Arun Kumar. Hi. Good to see you. We were on a transport committee together. I hope you remember. Yeah, long time back. Yeah. Okay. See you.
Thank you, Professor Lobial. I joined JNU as a faculty member in 1988, and my confirmation was still due. And somehow, my professor, he took me for a JNUTA meeting, and he said, we also have to file nominations because today is the last day. I said, okay, I'll go with you, not knowing that I was trapped. Okay, not knowing that I was invited, it was a ploy to trap me into the JNU executive. And so they said, भर दो और इसके बाद विड्रॉ कर देंगे बाद में. हमने कहा ठीक है, हम भर देते हैं, जैसे कि अक्सर होता है. अभी तो 6 महीने भी नहीं हुए थे, अभी कंफर्मेशन भी नहीं हुआ था, लेकिन हुआ यूं कि कोई और ने भरा नहीं, तो मैं बाय डिफॉल्ट मैं सेक्रेटरी हो गया. दैट वाज इन 89, 90, and not knowing as to what my role is, because before that, JNUTA had and the entire teachers movement for various reasons, and the larger political climate, Mandal and all that, which was already very much there. We had the pay commission issues, which were still there. There was hardly any housing for the teachers. Some of the initiatives were taken by our predecessors. I was handed over a file. Everything was in the process, nothing completed. So that was something, that we started with. those were the days when, some of us didn't even have bicycles. I mean, I didn't have a bicycle myself. I was not living on the campus. The notorious JNUTA, what you call, meeting papers, in fact, were circulated. I had to sometimes, go door to door, pushing in those things. Good that at that time, I met Professor Bhagwan Josh, and he said, there used to be one newsletter that we wanted to bring about. What about that? So we said, yeah, that would be a good thing. So we started the newsletter business at that time. Among so many achievements that the JNUTA has led, and in fact, the JNUTA campus that we cannot imagine without the active participation or the active role that the JNUTA made. One of the most satisfying experiences that I had in my first association with TA, and Surajit is here, is the fact that after 1983, sine die, the deprivation points were withdrawn because the admissions were totally based on merit, whatever merit was defined in whichever way. So in my own, until few months before, I was a student here, and the teachers you had to deal with go and talk about that. We are going to have this is the structure of the deprivation points and so on and so forth. I recall the kind of questions that will come from our professors, senior professors. It was difficult, it was challenging, but I recall with a lot of pleasure that it went through. I mean, it took another 1 year for it to be implemented, but it was true. I mean, we were in a position to bring back the deprivation points. So that was the team that I was the secretary, and Professor Ramadhikari Kumar was the president at that time. One more small episode that I wanted to recount was my confirmation was still due, and we were staging an agitation against the Vice Chancellor then and the registrar both. I don't want to tell you what the story was, but that was, I think, one of the longest sit-ins that the JNUTA had to do down campus in front of the administration. Then I don't know, now that building is being used by some I don't know, Home Ministry office. And at that time, I had an invitation to go somewhere. So those days they had to reduce to 15 days per semester, that you cannot be on leave for continuously 15 days. And my assignment was getting over after the 18th day. So that was my application, and I was fighting a battle against the secretary, writing letters, representing the JNUTA sentiments and the mandate to the Vice Chancellor and the Registrar. And to my surprise, none of these things mattered. I was given 18 days leave. I was the only one, perhaps, who was given an exception, not because I was JNUTA secretary, but because I was so young, and this was the first assignment that I got from outside. So, so the point that I was really trying to make was that the administration was not vindictive. I mean, although we were fighting a battle against them. My tenure as president was a tenure without event, because the fact that everything was going so smooth, and all that we had to do was to organize a few meetings and get-togethers. And so, I mean, we had issues like, but they were taken care of because of the fact that we had regular interaction with the administration, and we were in a position to clinch everything. Today, when I am trying to share my concerns and congratulate that, we have achieved 50 years, it's also very important for us to, in fact, recall that just yesterday,
Government of India has reconstituted the board of directors of CISS. Perhaps you must have read in the newspaper. That's an indication of how things are likely to change. Now things, until now it was in the document, but we need to, the JNUTA, I mean, wherever you go, my friends were talking about that TA and your association with JNU is always seen with suspicion, but that's not always the case. The teachers are where they look forward to, having your advice. So I think it's not all lost, but if we can again come together in whatever manner, the movement in this country is absolutely in a broken state. At the moment, every university is looking forward to. So if there is any hope, it has to be hope again from JNUTA. And I think this is the time when we should also not just connect with ourselves and our past, but also look at the future, connect horizontally with other universities and forge alliance in this direction. Thank you very much for this question.
May I request Professor Ajay Patnaik, please?
So, first of all, even now I cannot associate myself from JNUTA. It's like once you are JNUTA, you are always JNUTA. Maybe that is because I always walk in the evening with our JNUTA president. So that feeling continues. And everything that is happening in JNU, JNUTA front, while on the walk we discuss, and not disconnected in that sense from JNUTA's activities. And thank you for giving this opportunity, because what I found in the beginning is something unique. We could never do it. Bringing back those documents into the public domain. See, memory is so important for an institution like JNUTA. That memory has to be kept alive. And that's what JNUTA was doing, all those pictures, all those documents. There are many more they're going to bring out, which is what we need to do to keep ourselves alive with what we used to do earlier, what was the tradition. Secondly, I mean, it's been a long association. It's very difficult to give any particular example. Since 89, JNUTA has been part of my identity, my existence, major part. I could not imagine my life in JNU without being active or being part of JNUTA. So that is the experience I had. Second, I won't go into individual details of my experience, but I can tell you a few things. Coming from the student movement background, I realized that no individual can confront this administration alone, individually. We have to collectively stand up to this administration. That realization was there in a student, and that realization also made me a part of JNUTA, very active part of JNUTA. Because individually you are all powerless against an administration. Many battles were lost, not for individuals, for the group of teachers, for the whole teacher community. Rukmanjari is here because of JNUTA's protest, collective action. We could save land of JNU from being given to outside institutions. The land that was being given. For JNUTA's activities, we could stop 200 trees being cut at the Vice Chancellor's gate to build a massive gate, entrance gate. That is again, Rupa was there. So the protest of teachers saved our land, our trees, our structure. Otherwise, nobody would have listened. It is collective action. Similarly, you will find on many issues. I remember mostly my days. I was vice president of this great association. But more eventful was 2016, when Kanhaiya Kumar's episode happened and the student union president was put in jail, it is JNUTA which for 1 month till he came out of jail, continued the movement and protest. And because of JNUTA's intervention, I'll tell you how interventions help. The composition of the inquiry committee was changed. And because of which the students' career was set, they were fined, but they were not expelled from the university. Both of them went out with their degrees. Kanhaiya won with his degree. So did Saurabh Sharma, who is a faculty now. So, not because of JNUTA alone, but the protest of students and teachers, which continues. So my point is, collectively, we can do many things, we have done many things, many times we failed. We raised the issue of appointment of a dean in School of Languages, bypassing many faculty members, senior faculty. At the first time we raised very vociferously in GBM after GBM. Maybe at that moment we did not succeed at that distant issue. But I remember for many years, no vice chancellor could do that, could just appoint anybody as chairperson and dean. So that kind of voice remains in the back of the mind of the administration that what is the JNUTA opinion, how will JNUTA consider? So we lost that maybe, but many other issues. We have temporarily lost, but in the long term, many vice chancellors, until this last 8 years, we have seen the vice chancellors were very reluctant. We played a mediating role between many communities. Vice chancellors used to call me or my colleagues for meeting with the Karamcharis who were on protest outside the administration. So we'll sit till late night and resolve the issue. Vice chancellors will call us late in the night to resolve the issue with the students. So JNUTA was also a facilitator of negotiations between various communities within the campus, where it might be very small at times. Many times we did not get leaders. We did not get leaders to lead JNUTA. We have to go to the houses and persuade. Rupa was persuaded. And because of her good work, we went again and said that next year also you continue. You see, JNUTA teachers never, unlike JNUTA where it's a 2-year tenure, here one year was enough, and they were saying that itna time nahi hai, academic work karna hai, bahut kuch hai, I'm a scientist. But we impressed upon her that your continuity is important because some of the issues that you raised have been completed. And she agreed. We have seen with Kamal, same thing. We have seen with Lobiya, the fourth term. Because these people have taken active interest in the JNUTA. They are willing to volunteer, they are willing to work hard, and they are the kind who can unite a lot of people around them. Especially Lobiya, I can tell you, that he cuts across many ideologies and groups and science, non-science divisions, and everyone knows it. We need leaders like this to keep the JNUTA spirit alive, who will reach out to various sections within the university. So my point is, this identity that we got through this institution called JNUTA, that should become the identity of every individual faculty in the campus. Whatever number of groups might come up, they cannot take up the issues of teachers the way JNUTA can take it up, the way JNUTA can unite teachers behind them. That is the kind of work that JNUTA has been doing, will continue to do, and I'm sure this leadership, even in difficult times, celebrating this 50th year. I mean, we have been president, never thought about these things, the documents, the archives, all these are there when we are there sitting in this tight room. I remember that room. Leaving this building was JNUTA's constitution because it was the state office. Having the canteen, everything. And because of the documents today, JNUTA can have its office again, the canteen, because all these are documents allotted to us at some point of time. Because they will say that, no, who gave you this building? They can close down the JNUTA office, but because we have these documents, and these documents now we can have soft copies, earlier also we had this journal, magazine or whatever, newsletter. So many of these things are there in the newsletter. Lobiya used to help us. We used to collect all that and put them in a pamphlet shape. So my best wishes to the JNUTA leadership for organizing this. And I hope that the good work they have been doing should continue in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you go Professor Anil Kumar? Anil Kumar. Hello. Yeah. Professor Anil Kumar. Can you hear us, sir?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, sir. We are ready to listen to you now.
Well, first of all, I am so jealous of all of you. I am at an airport to catch a flight to go to Lucknow, and you are all enjoying bright sunny day in JNU campus. Secondly, I am jealous that all friends are there together, and I'm missing this great get together, which is just to mark our 50 years journey. What a remarkable journey. Anybody will feel proud that we were volunteers of JNUTA once in our academic life and career. For me, when I came to JNU as a faculty member in 1990, it was one of the most sober and serious engagements to attend JNUTA meeting. Ashwani Ray was president, Dipankar Gupta was secretary, and then a day came when I became secretary. Then another day I became president, then again president. And every opportunity was a strange testing of our patience and our capacity to mobilize. Today, after 50 years, I must say that JNUTA never scored very high in terms of mobilization of our collective action. But whatever number was available was heavy enough to engage the authorities, be that Vice Chancellor of JNU or Chairperson of UGC. This is also an occasion to salute JNUTA and JNUTA unity, because JNUTA will be there with a few hundred faculty members, and JNUTA at best will have 2 cars full, 1 taxi and 1 Kamal Chenoy's car. And when we have 8 members to 10 members attending a national rally, we'll be very happy that, oh, we did a great job. What a performance. But JNUTA campus meetings were always very lively. And there'll be, I don't remember many occasions when we could not hold the meeting because of quorum. Quorum was always there. I have nothing more to add except that at 50 years, everybody has a right to have an autobiography. So all of you, and I include myself, must volunteer to write our own little chapters of JNUTA journey, and let that be an integral part of the narrative called JNU. I'm very happy that Professor Lobial allowed me to participate from such a distance, and that makes me compensate for my absence. My greetings to all of you, my salute to all of you, particularly those like Arun Kumar who helped me when I had to lead the team and I had no, I must say, capacity, but others thought I had no time to do the intellectual homework, and Arunji was one of the solid support, solid pillars to create a document which stood test of time, and even today it is relevant. Similarly, my friends who helped me as either my leader like President Prasanna or my secretaries, Professor Pramod Yadav, Professor Santoshkar, very distinguished scientists in their own right, and then my colleagues in the committee, particularly the vice presidents. I'm very thankful to all of them. I'm very thankful to all of you. Long live JNUTA and JNUTA Jindabad. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining online. Thank you. वही बनाना था ना मैं रिक्वेस्ट प्रोफेसर त्रिपाठी Thank you very much. I thank the Columbia for organizing such a nice gathering and celebrating JNU's 50 years of all hard work. Yes, yeah, all the hard work. Yes, I remember JNUTA from the very beginning as a student when I joined in 1976. During middle of emergency, and then went up. Then I joined teacher long after 87 here. So JNUTA I know very closely, but we could not, of course, go to level of bargaining power that JNUTA has. That is one. I think that is one of the reasons why you could not succeed very well in this campus to fulfill the teacher's duty. I remember when this seventh day commission was going on, the JNUTA's were prevailed. You know, JNUTA and all that. JNUTA's were prevailed, and assistant professor for 12 years instead of 8 years that we had. So there are a lot of anomalies that took place. I was by that time, you know, a member of the CA, but we could not persuade to persuade him to tell that, you know, after 8 years and 12 years. So that did they took, okay, because it suited them, college, not of course not the university. So okay, anyway, but I must say that still whatever the subcommittee had as a JNUT association, we could you know, whatever capacity we had, how much power we had, we could prevail upon the administration, upon the students, and could connect students and teachers together and work with the administration or work with the administration. When we took us on many times to commission workers. I remember the first time when we were students, Dr. P.C. Kesavan was the president of staff association, the commission.
How can we be?
Yes, you have. By that time, when I joined as MCA, you was the, you probably know, joined by that time, I don't know, 76. Okay. Staff association president was a teacher.
71, 72.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, so it was also just there. So it was there. So then, you know, you have asked to go and all that, you know, as a student here. Okay, so that is the long history. But I must say that, you know, we are, whatever you can say about the doing the past we had, but we can, I don't know how much is where they today, and the kind of appointment that is taking place. I don't care which ideology. What I care is that at least those teachers who have sufficient academic standard to be deserved by their youth. And we know, in our time also many teachers are from left or right. Okay, so that happens, you know. Many teachers are from right, you know, and you can see them right now in the campus. Okay, so there's no discrimination. Okay, but right now I think there is a trend, unnecessary trend, which will never help anybody else. Either the current dispensation or the future will never help. Because you simply bring down the academic standard of the university in long run, and that will really create a bad image for the university.
letter. So that you must think how to correct it and maybe impress upon it to the current dispensation that, you must adhere to academic standards. And so that then only we can figure the uniqueness of JNU and the prestige it gets in the world. Actually, JNU's prestige has not gone down outside abroad. When I go abroad, even today I talk to people, professors abroad, they still value JNU. They still think about JNU. But maybe in our country it has gone down very badly. Image is gone down, not a JNU has gone down. Image of JNU has gone down due to wrong reason. And I'm telling one experience when I went to some committee. There was in university and first, then there was a visit of Namini. Once he saw me, he said, "Look, yeah." Huh? So you see the situation in you don't think that our image is that great right now. Okay? We are very careful about it, and we should try to, we cannot do anything about it, but that's to keep it going. Keep it proceed. All right. So did you work? Thank you very much. Thank you. Dr. Kunju?
What to do? Unmute.
Yeah. Please start.
Okay.
Sorry.
Actually, since the beginning, I was hearing all your speech and showing all my old friends in JNUTA lawn. And really good afternoon for all of you. I especially thanks Professor Varyam Singh and Dr. Lobial for inviting me for the, though it is little late, okay, it is fine. At least you remember me, okay, fine, thank you. So my experience is always with money. JNUTA mean, JNUTA, I worked 13 years as treasurer of JNUTA and one time for secretary also. My experience is mainly on this, and I am very happy to show all old friends once again. And I had heard about Professor T.K. Umman, Varyam Singh, P.K. Yadav, Roshan, Professor Ghosh, Lingra, so many people. I got some experience from out of them, what JNUTA was or had been. So my experience is really limited, especially I remember our Ananda Kumar calling me only Kanjus. Kunju, don't spend money and he will keep it only for JNUTA and he will not give you more than one samosa. That is what he was always complaining. My another experience is I was a member of the team sent to Punjab, Peshawar University along with Varyam Singh. That is because of Kamal, I got that chance. Kamal was stepped out last moment and I was elected to that. That trip got me very good experience about some other university in other country. So I don't have much to add because it is too late. So there are so many people are waiting. So I am thankful to everybody. And especially I see Professor Arun Kumar with a white beard, smiling face. Then I thank you for Arun Kumar. Special thanks for him. Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, now we have Professor Arun Kumar here, and who has, I remember when I was president, he wrote those whole, organized the whole seminar on higher education in 2002, when Professor Pramod Yadav was president, Deepak Kumar was secretary, and it was a good one-day workshop. A lot of people came and they talk on different topics, and the booklet is there. So they are requesting to take forward.
Thank you, JNUTA.
thank you, everybody, to come and celebrate this 50th year of JNU Teachers Association. It's indeed an occasion to celebrate, because what JNUTA has contributed, I think, to society is immense. It's not just JNUTA, but also JNU. In a sense, Teachers Association, Teachers Association is like a trade union, as some of the predecessors have said. It's a very special kind of a trade union. It is a trade union of people who are intellectuals, who are thinkers, and therefore it plays a role which is more than what an ordinary trade union would play. It did lead to society. I think what the predecessors who talked here have shown is the different ways that JNUTA has given lead, not only within JNU, but as setting an example for what should happen in society. So I think this is the way I have viewed the role of JNU Teachers Association, that what has happened in society is that teachers' role has retreated to the background. It's the bureaucracy and the political class that have taken on the role of what higher education should be. And they're not really experts on it. And therefore they've damaged it. They have actually curbed the autonomy of the individual teachers of the university. And that is what you see happening in a very big way now. So in a sense, what I remember, the two things about JNU which are very important. First is the liberality of JNU. It has been a very liberal institution. What my predecessors were talking about was how the teachers could intervene in the working of the university, in the way the students were treated, in the way the Karamcharis, it was right from the beginning, from the way, as Dr. Uman said, the constitution was drafted. There was a liberality which was built into the JNU structure. And the JNUTA actually followed that suit. And JNUTA played a role in preserving that liberality. If we don't preserve that liberality, the other thing, I wrote a piece in the Times of India in 1997. I said, dissent is the essence of higher education. It's not a malaise to be put down. Unfortunately, in large number of universities, dissent is not treated as something desirable. It's put down with a heavy hand. But in JNU, it has been celebrated. It has been something that we've all lived with. We managed to say things which in other universities, faculty would not be able to say. And I think what is important is that JNUTA has helped to build an image of a university in society. I remember in 2009, when the students caught hold of the buster roll of the contractors, and it was found that the workers were getting paid half the minimum wage that should have been paid. And there was a big movement at that time. But the rector said, can JNU be Monica? So that was a shocking thing. Because JNU has to be different from Monica. And that's why it's an intellectual place, it's a place for thought, and it cannot just copy Monica. So in my view, what JNUTA has done is preserve this autonomy, try to preserve the autonomy of the individual faculty members. Because autonomy doesn't mean the autonomy of the vice chancellor, it also means the autonomy of the department, it also means the autonomy of the individual teacher. This is a realization that I had when in 1987, we had the big strike after the pay commission came. We were striking and there was a division. Some teachers said we should continue to teach, others said we should not. And I think it prevailed for more than a month. That's the time I wrote pieces in EPW on what is autonomy and what is accountability. And I think I learned that because of being in JNU. If I had not been in JNU, I would not have developed this idea of what is autonomy and what is accountability. And how accountability can only be brought about by individual teachers who are autonomous, who can stand for what they believe in. They can teach what they believe in. And I think that's what JNU has preserved. That is the important thing. So this big strike that came in 1987 against the pay commission report, because that was curtailing the autonomy, that helped some of us to stand up against that report, and therefore many of us did not sign, and therefore our salary was not increased. We were not given DA. So for 3 years, when we did not sign, we were getting half the salary that we should have been given. But we had that strength because JNUTA was there. If the JNUTA was not there standing with us, we would not have been able to do that. So in a sense, what I'm trying to argue is that the JNUTA's presence that enabled the autonomy of individual faculty members. Then I remember in 1997, when there was again a pay commission report, and we had the Rastogi commission, and we had a strike of one day. I argued in the JNUTA meeting that we should propose what is it that we want. Rather than just strike, we should propose it. So Anand set up a commission with me as the chair in JNUTA here, where we wrote a report on alternate structures of higher education. That report, we suggested that to finance higher education, we should put a cess on corporate tax because corporate sector gains. And that was done in the next year in the budget. So JNUTA had that advantage that it could propose something, it was heard outside. Similarly, in 1997, again, the UGC had a meeting in NUPA. On that, we had put forward a proposal saying that the retirement age of 58 and 60 was proposed in 1930s, when the longevity was only 38 years. Today, the longevity has gone up to more than 60 years, and we still have that. So the UGC accepted at that point in that meeting that we should increase the age of retirement from 62 to 65 for teachers, and we were saying make it 70. And only later on, it was also said, okay, we can take it up to 70, but on a selective basis. JNUTA opposed that in the AC, saying that it should not be selective, it should be for all, either it should be for all or it should not be there. Because otherwise, what happened was that there's something like an after 55 syndrome. Many faculty members who become senior, they're looking at what will happen after 62 or after 65, how they have to play with the administration. Now, when the faculty members should be the most independent, that's the time they come under pressure because their extension is coming up. So we took a principled stand in the academic council that either you give extension to all or you don't give extension to anybody. So either make it 70 automatically, and if some people don't want to do it, let them not do it. So in other words, it's the JNUTA's line that was very important in the university, in the academic council, etc. And that had an impact outside JNU also. Because in a sense, JNU was giving lead to the structures of higher education in the country. So as Vaishnav said, maybe we did not succeed many times, but I think we did succeed in the wider sense. And I think that's the important way to look at it. So these kind of moves that have taken place, we also, as Lobial pointed out, in 2003-4, we had the big seminar here in this place where principals from about 30 different places came. We had others coming on the 2nd October. We held a seminar, Challenges Facing Indian Universities, and we brought that as a booklet. So that's the first and the only publication of JNU Teachers Association, where Professor Thorat said how education in India is alienating. It's alienating not just for everybody, but it's alienating for the Dalits more so. So that was something that Papa, Professor Bhattacharya, he supported. He said Gandhi said that education is alienating, and then Professor Thorat also reinforced that even presently education, the higher education is alienating for the Dalits. So that's a line that came out of JNUTA, that came out of JNU, which actually further moved further. So in other words, what we did was we tried to make JNUTA an intellectually more robust, more active. And that's why, as Professor Pramod Yadav said, we continuously held seminars. During the term that I was associated with JNUTA, like when the Bhuj earthquake took place, there's a feeling in the society that, it's all God-given. But we wanted to show that plate tectonic, and therefore we did it. Then we also organized seminars on the Nobel Prizes. So that, what was Nobel Prizes, what's the importance of Nobel Prizes, that we organized as part of JNUTA. And a lot of people from outside, from Munita also, who heard that this was being done, they also came. So in a sense, the idea that we can spread the, message further. Then the other thing that was done was this traffic planning committee, because traffic is getting chaotic. And therefore, we wrote a report which will be more democratic and environmentally sustainable, because it's destroying the environment also. So in other words, JNUTA and the teachers, they have managed to give lead in various things. I remember in 2014, when I became the president, we organized a discussion of the opposition parties and the ruling party, on that manifesto. And that was very widely attended. In other words, JNU Teachers Association's role is not confined only to JNU. It's not only my personal experiences, but it is actually what we can propose as what is required in society. What is it that society can take further out of the situation that we are in? And that is what brings us to the current situation. I remember when Kanhaiya Kumar incident took place, I was on TV channels, and they said, what you teach and what your students learn. Okay, so like an accusation. So I said, what we teach is to critique, and what the students learn is to critique existing knowledge. So that is what we are doing. So we don't say that Amartya Sen is the last word in economics or Einstein is the last word in physics. We teach them how to critique, and therefore they will critique. So therefore you can't expect them to just follow what is mechanically taught. So the idea of autonomy, of critical thinking, that has come out of JNU, and that I think is accepted all around the JNU has given me. So one of the things that we did as JNUTA, in 2014 was to form an association of all the associations of teachers associations in Delhi. So the 7 teachers associations, we all got together. We called it the Coordination Committee of Teachers Association of Delhi, and we campaigned together. We held a major seminar here where there was participation from 16 different states in the country. At that time, JNUTA was not being able to organize any meetings because whenever the hall was allotted, it was cancelled at the last minute. They had to hold the meetings in the. So Nandita Narayan, who was the JNUTA president, he said, JNU is the only institution in Delhi which can hold a meeting today. Jamia was not able to do it. Delhi University was not able to do it. Other universities are not doing it. So this CCTAD, as we formed it, we used that to campaign with the ministry because the ministry was drafting the new education policy. So we campaigned with that, and we found that we were still very weak because only the secretary education, HRD secretary met us. So then we revived JNUTA. JNUTA had been demolished, had been taken out of Delhi to Allahabad. We brought it back to Delhi. We revived JNUTA, and then we revived the association between JNUTA and IPUCTO, so that we would have larger representation of teachers. Otherwise, the voice in the ministry was very weak. So in other words, what we need to do today is to build a larger unity. I think that's what the lesson is from earlier, that if we have a larger unity of teachers, if we begin to give lead to the society, I think we'll be respected more, we'll be heard more. Today, the voice of teachers is very weak, and that is what I think we need to do. So some of the things that as far as I can see that are essential is that we should reduce the hierarchies in the teaching profession. Unfortunately, in Delhi University, the senior teachers are not treating the ad hoc and the temporary teachers the way they should be treated. I remember when I joined JNU, I as an assistant professor was treated as equal to professors. There was no distinction. So the hierarchies were less. The hierarchies have to be reduced. We have to get all the teachers on the same platform. We will have differences. There will be ideological differences, but those have to be sorted out through discussion and debate as is possible. We also have the issue of gender sensitization, which I remember when we were as the president, that issue became very big. Various people are getting accused of gender harassment. That the JNUTA had to deal with. Also, the issue of plagiarism had become very big. For that, we set up a committee to say how to deal with plagiarism. So if these are the things on which we take lead, we will be able to build a better reputation within society and we'll get heard more. And we have to counter the bureaucratization that has penetrated into administration, into the minds of academics. So the people outside accuse us that after all the committees are people by senior professors. But my argument is that the senior professors have a bureaucratized mindset, and that is something that we need to challenge. So in other words, if we take on some of these agendas, we build a better reputation outside, maybe we'll be heard more, and I think that's where the JNUTA can continue to play a very important role. Otherwise, we find that we'll not be heard outside, and whatever we do will not have the kind of effect that we would like to. Thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for bringing new information all the time. Thank you very much. And before I hand over to Dr. Avinash for concluding the session, only some president secretary sub complete होंगे. That's what the program was all about. See, we may be less in numbers at times, JNUTA may succeed because the number is very large. And we may not have that large number at times. But in our own way, we have succeeded in many ways and many forums and many times. That's how I see it. तो फिर भी नंबर कम है मैं वसीम मरेली साहब के शेर के साथ खत्म करूंगा और क्या हम आना पड़ेगा ना तो कहते हैं कि वसूलों पर जहां आँच आए तो टकराना जरूरी है वसूलों पर जहां आँच आए तो टकराना जरूरी है जो जिंदा हो तो जिंदा नजर आना जरूरी है थैंक यू आई हैव ओवर टू डॉक्टर अभिनंदन
Thank you, Professor Rabial. I'm sure everyone would agree that this was really a great occasion. We had, what we could learn from what we have heard today is that the continuity that JNUTA sort of builds. We were reading, and any one of you can go and read those resolutions which we have put out there in the exhibition. This whole idea of how privatization of the mines actually leads to the downfall of the university actually was even passed in late 84 and then also in 91, and that is extremely very important. And we could see that the continuity how JNUTA has played a very important role, as I said, not just in the democratic functioning of the university but also the larger Indian society, as all of us have pointed out. So I'll not take much time because we have the next performance. But I want to thank everyone who joined us online. I want to thank everyone who came here in physical, and I want to join and thank everyone who have sent messages. We have got solidarity messages from across the country. Because of the paucity of time, we could not do that. And I want to thank all the family members of the past presidents and those who have been in the office because of JNUTA, who were so excited to send the photographs of all the members if we were not able to reach out. And all of them whom we spoke to, they were really very forward to. So they came forward to support this endeavor. And many of them, those who are not with us, who are not alive, their family members were very keen that we must send them the photographs, the posters that all we make on this occasion, and we have promised that we will certainly send them and share them. Many of them have actually requested for video links, so we have shared that also. So they must be listening on the YouTube. There are members who are listening it on the YouTube as well. So on behalf of the JNUTA executive, I want to thank everyone, especially those who have come here and those who joined online and all that has been, this program has been possible. I wanted to read Professor Y.C. Bhatnagar had actually sent a written message because he could not join online. So I would say, first of all, my apologies to you for returning your call after 3 days. I was in a hospital for my ophthalmic operation. It was a great day. It is a great day that JNUTA is going to be 50. We all have been an integral part of this. During our days, the struggle were against the teacher hostile elements in the administration. On the front of teaching and research, we were trying to cultivate scientific temper and encouraging interdisciplinary research among the students. And on the other hand, we were fighting for the teachers' issues. In the present time, things have changed. Now JNUTA has to fight at 3 different levels, wishing JNUTA to be strong as usual and continue the struggle for the cause with more vigor. Thank you all. So this was Professor Y.C. Bhatnagar, and I'm sure all that we have heard today, we are, sir, he was the JNUTA secretary yeah. Wise. Yeah, he was the JNUTA secretary in 1992 when Professor Jayashankar was the president. So all the support that we have got today from all the past office bearers, this is really going to embolden us. This is really going to give us support for the future fight. As we know, we are really struggling, as Professor Bhatnagar pointed out, at different levels in the society, with the regime, with the administration and everything. So we look forward to all your support, and as many of you have pointed out, and we have this plan that JNUTA will bring a book on the 50 years of JNUTA, struggle and solidarity. That will be a title. And I think we are looking forward to your contribution in the days to come. Thank you so much. And I will hand over the mic to Professor Shukla, who will introduce our next performer. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. It's indeed a great pleasure to see all of you over here. And it's not just Jawaharlal Nehru University that's struggling. Almost all universities in this country are struggling. And so today we decided to invite Professor Kaushal Kumar from the Faculty of Fine Arts and Art Education, Jamia Millia Islamia. So we've decided to invite Professor Kaushal Kumar from the Faculty of Fine Arts and Art Education from the Department of Painting. But for quite some time now, instead of painting, he's actually started doing performance art. And to give you a sense of the kind of performance he's been doing and the kind of physical interventions that he's been making with his body, I'd like to cite the performance that he did very early in his career, where you get a sense of what kind of a performance is going to unfold over here. Which is that when he was appointed as a faculty at the Chandigarh College of Art, in this modernist city, he learned that Chandigarh does not have Sector 13. Now, the fact that a modern city still has, it's clearly still, formed on the basis of a superstitious belief that the number 13 is unlucky, he decided to kind of create a kind of a fake auction of plots in Sector 13. And in some sense, he was marking himself out as an outsider. So his performances are political in nature. The aesthetics of the politics really lives in his body in some sense. So the performance that he's going to do today is called Attributes. It's something that he did about a month and a half ago in another exhibition that was curated by one of our colleagues, Professor Aloni. The performance is going to start in the quadrangle over there. You need not get up and go there, but he wants to interact with those photographs of tortoise in the quadrangle. After that, we move in over here. We don't have to change the space. We can stay the way it is. And so, Kaushal, over to you, and thank you so much for accepting and showing your solidarity to Jawaharlal Nehru University.
Hello. Thank you, Professor Shukla. I am not a man of words.
Can you come before?
I feel it gives me a sense of pride to be a part of this important occasion. As far as my performance goes, although it sounds similar, but it is never the same, because the space is different, the time is different. The space and time now is, I think, the most important thing in performance. And not only the space and time, the audience is different, and I myself am different. So it is never the same. And you're also invited to participate with me in whatever way you feel like. Those who cannot move, please be seated there. And those who can come inside, they can join me there itself. Thank you.
The audience that's online can wait and watch. He'll be here maybe another 5-10 minutes. He'll start the performance in the quadrangle of the building of the union, Teachers Union, and then he'll move out. There's a sizable crowd that's already gathered for the performance. तीन भी नहीं कर सकते।
ये है नहीं, उसको वो करो, तीन करो, तीन तीन।
अभी क्या क्या दिखा रहे
तुम बैठे हो।
बिल्कुल खाली खाली दिख रहा है, खाली दिख
हम
रहा
लोग को बुला रहे हैं, हम लोग कोशिश करेंगे। अरे वो तो बढ़िया बढ़िया हो रहा है, देखिए
है। कौन बढ़िया से
बढ़िया चीज सही है ना कि मैं मोबाइल लेके जाऊंगा, दिक्कत है तो मोबाइल मत लो।
आप जूम बंद कर सकते हो अपना क्या होता है। नहीं नहीं बंद मत करो, नहीं नहीं मत करो मत करो, एक जूम रहने दो। नेटवर्क कभी भी जा सकता है, कुछ भी हो, फिर वापस से लाइव स्ट्रीम में आना मुश्किल है, अभी तक मुझे आए नहीं।
अब तुम्हारे हवाले ये सब धन साथी हो। हाँ बतन,
ये
धन
हटा दो।
साथी, बतन नहीं धन दो मुझे वहाँ पे।
ये भी डाल ही दो, नहीं खाना, ये खाना है क्या कुछ बोलेगा। सारे चीज बंद है लेकिन यहाँ पे बैंक हो रहा था बैंक मतलब खाली हो गया पूरा लोग अंदर चले गए थे अंदर तक सर भी अंदर चले गए एक बार सर को पूछो कि कैमरे का क्या करना है यहाँ पे है नहीं कोई
थोड़ी देर अभी आएंगे 1 मिनट वैसे तो
उनको बोलो म्यूट करके है तो आवाज बहुत वैसे आ रही है कैमरे को स्टेबल रखो ऐसे तो हिल रहा है एक जगह पे
यहाँ से अनम्यूट हो सकता है हम लोग का
उनकी वैसे कोई नहीं
होगा तो कुछ दिखाई देगा
जगह
यहाँ तो हम बोल सकते हैं ना
यहाँ से मत बोलो
किनारे जा रहे होंगे
इसके लिए बैठा दिया हम्म। हाँ वही स्टार्ट हुआ है। नहीं है।
दिखा रहा है मेरे पास बोलते फोन पर ठीक है
यूट्यूब पे नहीं है
क्यों यूट्यूब पे क्यों नहीं आ रहा
हाँ भाई माता बच्चे करती है तो गड़बड़ हो जाती है ये बैंक दिखा रहा है
अच्छा इसका आ रहा है ये तो यूट्यूब का ये फिल्म का चल रहा है ना पूरा आना चाहिए
वही समझ नहीं आता है
आ रहा है अभी भी नहीं आ रहा है कहाँ चल रहा है तुम्हारे
पहुंच गए अच्छा समझ कुछ
इंटरनेट की गड़बड़ी हो रहा है
इंटरनेट तो आ जाएगा ना कैमरे में आ जाएगा कर दो कर दो कैसे दीजिए कैमरा टेबल हटा के उनको
नहीं ठीक तो है कैमरा भी कहाँ आ पाएगा कैमरा
कहाँ जा रहे हैं
पता नहीं
उनको पूछ लो
जा कहाँ रहे हैं भाई तो इतना दूर नहीं जाना था जूम करूँ क्या
तो कैमरा वहां तक मिल जाएगा ऐसा कोई ढूंढ के तो फायदा नहीं है
क्यों कैमरा गया देखो कैमरा देखो विकास सर दिख रहे हैं
विकास सर को नहीं देखना है
नहीं तो वो उसके आगे है ना जैसे कैमरे में आ गए
कॉल रख लिया
ज्यादा इधर नहीं आया क्या
आधे घंटे लग रहे हैं
तुम जाओ ना, तुम कौन सा तुम तो टच करते रहे, हम तो फील करते हैं, हम तो फील कर रहे हैं, गया दिखा
क्या कर रहे हैं? जैसे वाले को पिन करते हैं।
इसमें तो वीडियो चालू करते हैं।
वीडियो नहीं चालू किया, वीडियो नहीं चालू किया।
अरे मृत्युंजय, वीडियो ऑन करो।
फोन कर ఇప్పుడు దానిలో ఫోన్ డీలింగ్ కనెక్ట్ ఫోన్ కనెక్ట్ करते उसको कनेक्ट करते बजाय सेपरेटली
स्टार्टिंग में कुछ हुआ था उधर ही वो वेस्ट करेंगे क्या उसमें क्या दिखाऊं परफॉर्मेंस ओवर हो गया जब इसको घुमाते हैं अभी आएंगे इससे घुमा दीजिए यार एक लोग इतना मेहनत किया नहीं वो जूम कॉल वाला स्क्रीन पे आ रहा है ना यूट्यूब पे वीडियो चलाए थे नहीं यूट्यूब पे एक वॉचिंग हो तो मैं खुद ये नहीं बोलना था और तो बोलना पड़ेगा नहीं बोलना जूम पे कोई नहीं है लिखा है ना करुणा चलो चलो एक के लिए तो मैं ये सेल्फी है कि बैक कैमरा अच्छा ये ये हो रहा है
मुझे पता है ना कि नहीं हो रहा है क्या मैं ही देख रही हूँ और तो कोई नहीं
मुझे पता है मैं यूट्यूब पर चल रहा हूँ
मैं तो देख रही हूँ
हम लोग भी आ जाते चलो हम लोग अरे काम तुम कर ले भाई
मैं ही तो देख रही हूँ सही बात है वही तो देख रहा था
अभी तो मेरे को भी नहीं बताया उसी को उसके बाद कुछ उसको क्यों करना चाहिए इसमें करेंगे ना बोल रहा था आप
एंड कर दूंगी इधर ये पीछे
नहीं पैसा पूरा मिला है ना जैसे कौन की है जैसे कौन करो तुम फोन कर सकते हो नेट थोड़ी ना करता है ना जियो में होता बड़ा फोन होता फोन करो नेट करना
अभी रिस्क नहीं लेना आपको
नहीं ले लियो गाना गा बाइक पकड़ लूंगा कंफ्यूज बोलो नहीं तो फिर लंबा चल जाएगा अरे किसान वाला कुछ सुना दूंगा अभी बस सारा फोन बोल दिया मैं बहुत लोग नहीं सुनेंगे किसान चला आता है बोल रहे माइक पकड़ती किसान चलाता है वहाँ पे यूट्यूब पे भी बंद कर दो एंड आप ही करेंगे करना होगा ना एंड आप ही
यही है स्टॉप
नहीं है एंड कर दे सीधा यूट्यूब में तो रिकॉर्ड हो जाएगा